The Throne of the Mechas. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 76, Psycho Mecha. The Mecha engine test takes 3 days. Xia Xingchen and Father Free continue to discuss the new Mecha. Xingchen, your current mental power level has exceeded level 20. Mecha masters of this level can release their mental power, so mechas can install and use mental power equipment. I want to build you a mental power mecha, Father said. Xia Xingchen nodded. There are currently 2 mainstream mental power equipments. One is a mental power amplification device, and the other is a mental power auxiliary device. Mental power amplification devices, as the name implies, are devices that amplify the effect of mental power. For example, Xia Xingchen's inside skill has a detection range of 50 meters without using a mecha, but with a mecha, even an ordinary mental power assisted mecha operating system will have an impact on mental power. Xia Xingchen drives an ordinary mecha, and the range of his insight ability can reach 200 meters. If Xia Xingchen uses a mental power amplification device designed specifically for mecha masters with a mental power level of 20 or above, his exploration distance can even reach 800 meters. However, the cost is that it will increase the consumption of the mecha master's mental power. Mental force auxiliary equipment. It is a device that uses mental force to directly trigger and control certain parts of the mecha. Although most mechas now use mental force operating systems, its main principle is to convert human nerve signals into electrical signals and transmit them to the mecha's computer, and then the computer issues instructions to the various parts of the mecha. In the middle, it takes 2 or 3 signal conversion and transmission processes, and finally reflects on the action of the mecha, which will produce a delay of a few tenths of a second or even 1 to 2 seconds. However, on the battlefield, this second is enough for an anti-mecha missile to fly dozens of meters, and enough for a laser to fly 300,000 kilometers. This second difference is the distance between life and death for a mecha master. The design concept of the mental force auxiliary equipment is to install the mental force receiving device in the control module of each major component. It can directly receive the mental force signal of the mecha master and directly control the movement of the mecha, eliminating many intermediate links, greatly speeding up the reaction speed of the mecha, and also improving the combat effectiveness and battlefield survivability of the mecha. Similarly, these mental force receiving devices are expensive, and each one is almost close to the price of an ordinary mecha. A high-end and top-spec psychic mecha needs to use dozens of such devices, which is difficult for ordinary people to afford. Even in those powerful forces, only a very small number of ace pilots can own such a top-spec psychic mecha. Now the most common practice among pilots with a psychic level of more than 20 is to install such psychic sensing devices on several key, life-saving parts. For example, in the quicksand base, Colonel Bass's mecha has only 4 such devices, but this is already very luxurious, and this is all earned by his military exploits. For Xia Xingchen's mecha, the only requirement of Father Free is to use the best of everything, and the top configuration. As for the cost, the quicksand base will bear part of it. In addition, Father took out dozens of basically unnecessary accessories and equipment from those containers, posted them on the Skynet of Changwei 2, and opened the auction function. These things made countless mecha maintenance pilots and private mecha enthusiasts crazy. Many of them were the works of masters, and it was difficult to buy them with money. They wanted to get these things at any cost, and the problem of funds was easily solved. Some mecha masters have reached the 20th level of mental power and awakened mental power, so they will find mecha designers to design mechas that match their mental power attributes for them. As for Xia Xingchen's spiritual clone, Father Free thought of it when he first learned about Xia Xingchen's mental power characteristics. This is the Super Dragoon system. Separate integrated control high-speed mobile equipment group network system, referred to as Dragoon system. It is a weapon system. Usually, the Dragoon is part of the whole mecha. In combat or when there is other need, the system will be separated into several parts and separated from the mecha mother body. As several separate combat units, they will attack the target separately. The most common Dragoon device is the floating gun. The floating gun is a weapon composed of a control module, an energy storage module, a small engine and a laser gun. Normally, several floating guns are part of the mecha, which is powered by the mecha and used as the mecha's laser gun. When encountering an enemy, the pilot will give an order, and several floating guns will detach from the mecha mother body, fly alone, and shoot from different positions and angles, making the opponent flustered and unable to take care of one thing while losing sight of another. The earliest Dragoon system was completely mechanically operated. They were pre-programmed, such as what distance to keep from the mecha mother body, what relative speed, what shooting frequency, and setting a flight route to avoid collision with the mecha mother body and other floating guns. The floating guns do not have the ability to dodge any attack, but will continue to move by themselves, reducing the possibility of being locked and destroyed by the enemy through their own irregular movements. Even if they are not attacked, they will move according to the set program, simplifying the instructions and thus reducing the burden on the pilot. Later, humans invented the mecha's mental control system, and the Dragoon system was also improved. The operation is simplified through mental control. Some mecha masters with strong mental power and strong spatial perception can control the operation and shooting of the floating gun separately, making it more difficult for the opponent to judge its trajectory and more difficult to deal with. However, the floating gun consumes a lot of mental power, and controlling several things at the same time may cause the mecha master to lose sight of one thing and another, leading to serious consequences. Therefore, the Dragoon system is almost extinct now. Xia Xingchen's advantage lies precisely in that, first of all, his total mental power is much higher than that of ordinary people, so this mental power consumption is nothing, and more importantly, his mental clone skill can separate 4 mental bodies from the main body at the same time. These 4 mental bodies are both independent of each other and integrated with the main body. Although the 4 mental clones are now limited in ability and cannot control mechas, they are more than enough to control devices such as floating guns. Moreover, in the ordinary Dragoon system, devices such as floating guns can only leave the mecha mother body for more than 10 meters. It is difficult to maintain control of the floating gun at a distance, because the fire control system and flight detection system of the floating gun are shared from the mecha mother body. If it is farther away, the mecha will be out of control. Xia Xingchen's spiritual clone can be as far as 800 meters away from the mother body, which means that the floating gun he controls can be 800 meters away from the mecha. Imagine that when Xia Xingchen fights with his opponent in the future, he will ambush the floating gun hundreds of meters away and suddenly fire. Even the most experienced mecha master may not be able to anticipate such a sneak attack. In order to maximize the power of the Dragoon system, Father Free decided to install a spiritual control device on each floating device to facilitate Xia Xingchen's precise control of each floating gun, so that he can better play the role of the Dragoon. Chapter 77 The Wolflands. Things about the mental mecha have been determined, and the next step is to apply the macro-controlled nuclear fusion engine Lungsen. First of all, the nuclear-powered mecha has eliminated the huge battery pack, which can free up a huge space for the mecha to install new weapons and equipment. Moreover, with this powerful nuclear-powered engine, the mecha's thrusters, laser cannons and other devices can increase the power to obtain greater power and stronger power. In addition, light energy armor is also a standard configuration for nuclear-powered mechas. It took the 2 of them 3 full days to determine the design of the new mecha. In the following days, Xia Xingchen, led by Father Free, traveled back and forth between the spacecraft, the mecha parts trading center and Father Free's home every day. The logistics system on Changli 2 is very developed. As long as they choose the accessories and pay online, they will be delivered to their homes by logistics companies soon. However, Father Free said that many of the accessories must be specially customized by special factories, which requires them to go there in person. At this time, a team of uninvited guests came to the Watchstar. In the outer space of Watchstar, at the other end of the planet across from the Watchstar space station, a heavy cruiser slowly approached the atmosphere. This space battleship was produced by Northern Heavy Industries of the Northern Administrative Region and belongs to the Northern Fleet. It is the latest Snow Woman class heavy high-speed stealth cruiser Siberian Star in service. At this time, 50 specially modified Direwolf mechas and a majestic vengeance wolf are making the final preparations before landing. The orbit of Watchstar passes through the edge of an asteroid belt every year. This asteroid belt brings a large amount of space debris. These debris will enter the atmosphere of Watchstar, and most of them will be burned in the atmosphere, and a small part will fall to the ground. This is the famous Watchstar meteor shower. The site selection of Watchstar space station was carefully calculated at the other end of the planet, so as to avoid the risk of encountering the space station with the asteroid belt. The person in the Revenge Wolf mecha was Andre. After more than half a year of planning, and more than a few months of preparation, they finally decided to take action. There are 5 heavy mecha cruisers coming this time, among which the Siberian Star is responsible for airdropping mecha troops and picking up Yuri. The other 4 cruisers are responsible for pretending to be star pirates, constantly harassing the route of Watchstar from another direction, with the aim of attracting the Watchstar garrison fleet and the heavy cruiser Repulse. The Siberian Star activated the Mirage system, and the entire hull merged into the dark space. The light was strangely deflected here, and the radar also lost its effectiveness. The engine of the spacecraft was turned off, and it relied on ejecting a large amount of cooling gas to propel the cruiser forward slowly. The heat source detection devices on the satellite detectors around Watchstar had lost their function. The wreckage of the asteroid belt was getting closer and closer, and Andre issued the last order in the mecha. Warriors of the North Wind Empire, we are now going to a strange place to carry out a very dangerous mission. But what I want to tell you is that we will be the writers of the great history of the North Wind Empire, and everything you do will be recorded in the history books of this great empire that is about to be established. We are ice wolves from the cold Siberia. Remember, for wolves, there will be no survivors in our battles, and we will never take prisoners. Go forward, warriors. Long live the North Wind Empire. Long live Nicholas the Great. 50 soldiers shouted with high morale. But calling them soldiers is not quite appropriate. They are the Lone Wolf Mecha Special Warfare Brigade of Prince Nicholas's private guard. These people have no military status, but they receive more rigorous training than soldiers. They carry out secret missions everywhere, are experienced, and have strong combat effectiveness. Everyone is an E-class mecha master. The most important point is that they are all orphans, raised by Nicholas since childhood, and are very loyal. This time they came to Watchstar, all driving specially modified Ice Wolf mechas. They replaced the lighter armor plates, installed large auxiliary wheels on the legs of the Ice Wolf, and added long-range attack modules and landing assistance modules on the back. Of course, this is a secret operation, and all the marks related to the Northern Administrative Region have been erased. They are not wearing military uniforms, but ordinary mecha operating clothes. Even their mechas are assembled by disassembling dozens of mechas and disrupting the parts. In this way, even if the mechas are destroyed and the wreckage falls into the hands of the other party, they can argue that it was assembled by the Star Pirates. After all, the entire military mecha must be registered when it leaves the factory. The asteroid belt finally approached, and countless large and small pieces of debris made the cruiser's hull clang. The hatch on the belly of the cruiser opened, and 51 landing capsules were ejected one by one. At this time, the soldiers could only pray in the cockpit. Pray that their landing capsules would not be hit by other space meteorites. Pray that their landing equipment would not be damaged in the collision, and pray that they would not be destroyed by the military's anti-aircraft firepower. However, contrary to expectations, 11 mechas were hit by meteorites. Before they passed through the atmosphere, the landing capsules were damaged, and the mechas burned directly in the atmosphere. There were also 3 mechas whose landing systems failed during the descent. Either the deceleration parachutes did not open, or the deceleration rockets did not work properly. Under the action of gravity acceleration, these 3 mechas smashed directly into the ground like meteorites, and became 3 pieces of scrap metal. In the end, only 37 out of 51 mechas landed safely. After landing, they quickly assembled towards the lair of the reptile gang. During the assembly process, 3 more mechas lost contact. 2 of them were besieged and destroyed by the defenders of Watchstar, and the landing point of the other mecha was too far away from the headquarters of the reptile gang. The mecha was exhausted, and the mecha master directly blew up the mecha in the desert. Welcome to Watchstar, Lieutenant Andre. Yuri gave Andre a warm hug. He knew Andre's special status in the Northern Administrative Region. He was the most trusted person of Prince Nicholas. Moreover, Prince Nicholas was almost 50 years old and still had no heirs. Andre might even become Nicholas' successor in the future. Hello Yuri, we meet again. More than 10 years ago, Andre, who was still a child, met Yuri at Nicholas's place. At that time, he still had hair and was full of vigor and vitality. Now he is a bold middle-aged man who has aged and is unrecognizable. It seems that he has really been worried about him in the past 10 years. Andre has some respect for him, but he still whispered in Yuri's ear, "Keep it confidential. Call me Ivan. I'm not a lieutenant." Okay, welcome to Watchstar, Mr. Ivan. Chapter 78 The Ghost. Andre explained the entire action plan to Yuri in detail. The two repeatedly pondered the details of the action. The action in space has begun. The Northern Fleet, pretending to be pirates, has fooled the defenders. It will be time to evacuate in a week. They don't have much time left. Andre and his team made a plan. Yuri still has more than 500 mechas in his hands. 300 of them will be ambushed near the quicksand base. Then, through undercover, the military will be informed of the location of the reptile gang headquarters and the false news that Yuri will escape on the space shuttle of the reptile gang headquarters. The military will send a large number of mechas from the quicksand base and the launch base to encircle and suppress them. Then the ambushed mechas will quickly raid and destroy the quicksand base. The lone wolf and Yuri's elite mecha troops will ambush in advance, sneak attack the landing base of Watchstar and temporarily control the base. The senior insider lurking in the base will prepare a large landing spacecraft to fly into space. After the landing spacecraft rushes out of the atmosphere, it will quickly dock with the Siberian Star, and finally escape at high speed, and fly to the Northern Administrative District. Major General Hens is the highest military commander of the garrison at the Watchstar Space Station. The entire Watchstar Space Station and the entire Watchstar military force are under his jurisdiction. 10 years ago, he was only a lieutenant colonel and the commander of the Watchstar Olympia base. Later, when he came to the space station for vacation, a man who claimed to be from the military of the Northern Administrative District came to him and said that, as long as he agreed to work for the North, he would give him a great fortune. Hens didn't take it seriously at first, but later when he saw the long string of numbers in his secret account, he couldn't help but be moved. Later, someone often sent him intelligence, pointing out the base locations and movements of some small groups of sand bandits. Hens took the opportunity to mobilize the army, won many victories, and was soon promoted to colonel. At this time, the military chief of the landing base was dismissed because of a scandal. It was said that someone secretly filmed an indecent video. Although the officer fiercely explained that he was framed, the military had to take him down in order to eliminate the impact. Hens, who performed well, naturally became the commander of the landing base. Not only was he promoted, but he also had a lot more money in his account. After taking office, Hennis did the same thing, and a large amount of accurate intelligence about the sand bandits brought him great military exploits. However, he didn't know at the time that this intelligence was actually provided by the reptile gang, most of whom were competitors of the reptile gang. Yuri's borrowing a knife to kill someone not only gave a favor, but also eliminated the competitors. In the 7 years that Hennis served as the military chief of the landing base, the reptile gang grew into the largest sand bandit force on Watchstar. Just when Hennis was considering whether to take action against the reptile gang, the mysterious man who contacted him appeared. Not only did he not allow him to touch the reptile gang, but he also asked him to provide intelligence to the reptile gang. Hennis vaguely felt that the reptile gang might have a relationship with the North. He agreed. However, this was not in vain. In return, Hennis was promoted again. A large sum of money suddenly appeared in the personal account of the former military chief of the Watchstar space station. The source of this money was a secret account of a notorious star pirate near Watchstar. Moreover, this matter was exposed by the media, and Hen's predecessor was dismissed. Hens was promoted to Major General due to his outstanding achievements, and became the military chief of the Watchstar space station. At this time, he received instructions to keep a low profile and leave the small things such as providing intelligence to the reptile gang to others. Recently, the military has been madly demanding to crack down on the reptile gang. He has no choice, because many decisions are made by the general staff, and he can't do it alone. After work that day, Hens, who felt extremely bored, dressed up in casual clothes, and went to a bar, to drink and have fun. As a result, he was invited into a private room. Inside was the man who had been in contact with him for 10 years. The man handed him a document. "This is the latest order, you can take a look." He opened it, and his face changed at that time. If I do this, I will be court-martialed, and I will be shot. He was a key figure in the plan, but what he was asked to do was too noisy. "Let me introduce myself. We have known each other for 10 years. You don't know my name yet. I'm Alyosha, a senior liaison officer of the military intelligence department under Prince Nicholas." The man said, "Mr. Alyosha, you want me to do this, which is simply to put me to death. I did what you said, and the military court will not let me go." Hens looked unhappy. "General Hens, after this operation, we will arrange for you to withdraw with our warships. Prince Nicholas has seen your contributions over the years. He has already instructed that you go to the Alps Star region, a tourist resort in our northern administrative region, to live a rich life for a few years. If you still want to be an official, wait for you to enjoy it for 2 or 3 years. By then, His Royal Highness, oh no, His Majesty, will form a new fleet, and you will not be able to escape the rank of a powerful Lieutenant General." Hens hesitated. "Although the risk is great, the reward is very generous. General, you are worried about your family. Please rest assured that we are very thoughtful in doing things. Your wife and 2 daughters are now on the way to the Alps Star region. Of course, your 2 secret lovers and illegitimate children also went with you," Alyosha said with a smile. "Are you threatening me?" Hens was a little angry. His family was now hostage. "Mr. Hens, we have been very kind to you over the years, and you know that we have paid much more than what you have done for us. Now, it is time for you to repay us. Some things, there is no choice." Alyosha's expression suddenly became serious, and his tone was very cold. At this time, Hens's forehead was throbbing with blue veins, and his hand slowly moved to his waist. "Haha, you don't want to silence me. To tell you the truth, we have a whole team here. If I have any problems, your glorious achievements will appear on the desks of major media and the chief of the military court. And, you know, it's not peaceful now. There are many pirates on the route to the Alps Starfield." Alyosha sneered as he spoke, with a cold light in his eyes. "No, I agree to do it." Hens finally couldn't stand the pressure and gave in. "Then I look forward to your wonderful performance. Don't let Prince Nicholas down," he said, turning around and leaving. At this time, Hens was already covered in cold sweat, and sat dejectedly on the sofa. Chapter 79 The Nightmare Begins. In recent days, the headquarters of the reptile gang has been very busy. The gate of the underground base has been opened, and various mechas and vehicles have been coming and going frequently. At this time, a low-orbit reconnaissance satellite accidentally passed over the sky here, and took a photo. This photo was sent to the headquarters of the Watchstar space station. Report to the commander. According to our intelligence department's analysis, from the information conveyed in this photo, this is exactly the headquarters of the reptile gang we have been looking for a long time. First of all, from the scale, there are more than 500 mechas of various colors, and there may be more mechas underground. Among these mechas are Sickle Demon mechas, and the Ice Wolf that appeared some time ago, especially this one, the improved version of the King Kong mecha King Kong Overlord. This is the mecha of Yuri's capable General Bloody Campbell. So we can be sure, the intelligence department official said excitedly. "What are they building?" Hennis asked pretentiously. "According to the analysis of our intelligence department and technical department, it is very likely that they are building a launch runway for space shuttles. There is a huge underground facility underground. They probably want to escape," the intelligence department said. "The reptile gang has committed many evil things over the years, and now we have finally caught them. We must catch them all in one fell swoop, especially Yuri. We must find him alive or dead. I suggest that all military bases within 1,000 kilometers of the reptile gang headquarters, including the launch base, be mobilized tonight, except for 5% of the troops left for guarding." In this way, we can probably gather about 1,500 mechas and launch a devastating attack on them. I estimate that they have at most 800 mechas, and most of them are a mob. However, the weather conditions on Watchster have been complicated in the past few days, and the atmospheric activity is intense. Our satellites cannot obtain effective intelligence at all, and the danger of reconnaissance planes taking off is also very great. I suggest we wait a few days before launching the attack. A staff officer questioned. Ridiculous. Do you know what it means to miss a war? The weather is bad now, and their space shuttle cannot be launched. When the weather is good, where can they catch Yuri? Recently, a large number of space pirates have come to harass the route of Watchster, and the garrison fleet has been sent out. What can we use to intercept the space shuttle? Will we use patrol boats? The staff officer lowered his head. What Hens said made sense, but he still felt that something was wrong. I order that starting tonight, the launch base, the quicksand base, the Olympia base, and other 5 bases, except for no more than 5% of the guards left, all mecha troops will be dispatched to reach the coordinates before 5 o'clock tomorrow. Gather at these 5 coordinates, form a siege on the sand pirate base, and launch a general attack on time at 5:10. Hens gave the order to attack. Yes, sir. The staff began to get busy. After receiving the order, the quicksand base began to get busy. All personnel cancelled their vacations, and the mecha maintenance technicians in the mecha maintenance workshop were busy. Each team was busy charging their mechas and replenishing their ammunition. The headquarters of the base held an emergency high-level meeting and decided to leave only the 02nd team and the 19th team to guard the house, and all the remaining mechas were dispatched. Because there were no other space pirates in the vicinity, except the reptile gang, and there was no large group of stinging scorpions nearby, the 2 teams that stayed behind were mostly new recruits. Colonel Bercy and Freya were the captain and deputy captain of the assault force respectively. As night fell, the rumbling sound of mecha engines broke the silence of the desert night sky. At 4:30 in the morning, 185 mechas of the quicksand base arrived at the designated assembly point, which was 30 kilometers away from the reptile gang's base. After counting the number of mechas, the 185 mechas were lined up in 2 directions with the assembly point as the center, and each mecha was 5 meters apart. Soon, 5:10 arrived, and the command instruction code came from the general channel of the mecha, and it was time to move. Suddenly, nearly 200 mecha engines roared, rushing towards the headquarters of the reptile gang at a speed of 70 kilometers per hour. The reason for this speed is that there are more than a dozen storm mechas in the team, and its tracked chassis allows it to reach a maximum speed of only 70 kilometers per hour. The mechas brought up billowing smoke and dust. At this time, a shrill alarm sounded in the base of the reptile gang, and the sand bandits found themselves surrounded. They climbed onto the mecha without even bothering to put on their clothes. Freya was driving the Red Wrench number 2 mecha at this time. She felt a little irritable in her heart, as if something bad was about to happen. At this time, the radio silence had been cancelled, and she called Colonel Bercy through the private channel of the pager. Uncle Bercy, for some reason, I have a very bad premonition, as if something bad is going to happen. Yes, I feel it too. There may be danger. You must pay attention to safety. Colonel Bercy frowned. He also had this feeling that danger was about to come. This was an intuition that a warrior formed in countless battles and countless times when he brushed shoulders with the god of death. Suddenly, dozens of violent explosions sounded in the middle of the team. Ah. Be careful, Captain. It's an anti-mech mine. The communicator was in chaos. At this time, the battlefield command mech reported that the team at the quicksand base had just been attacked by anti-mech mines. In this wave of attacks, 32 mechas were devastated, and 13 were affected by the explosion, severely damaged, and lost their combat capability. Stop moving forward, Colonel Bercy shouted. Chapter 80 Base in danger. Soon, the general command of the Sand Bandits headquarters came with news that not only the quicksand base, but also the attacking forces of other bases were attacked by anti-mech mines. The military dispatched a total of 1,620 mechas. This time 390 were lost in the first wave of mine strikes, of which 221 were directly destroyed, and the rest were seriously injured and lost their combat capability. Landmines are a cheap defensive weapon. The explosion buried under the surface or laid on the ground has been almost launched for thousands of years. Especially in defensive operations, landmines have played a huge role. Sometimes the attacking forces face a defense belt full of mines, and they can only fill it with human lives. After entering the space age, landmines almost withdrew from the stage of history, but after the appearance of mechas, landmines have regained their vitality. The cost of anti-mech mines is only 1/10 of that of mechas, but the lethality is very huge. It is enough to destroy a mech with a dozen mines, and it is profitable to destroy 2. The TM-83 anti-mech mine used by the Sand Bandits was produced by Northern Heavy Industries after many actual combats in recent years and continuous improvement. The TM-83 anti-mech mine is a cylindrical object with a diameter of 1 meter and a height of 1.3 meters, weighing more than 1 ton. It is laid by the mech. The trigger device is electromagnetic induction and can also be detonated by timing or remote control. Under the warhead of the mine are multiple micro rockets, which can launch the warhead of the mine to the vicinity of the mech cockpit and detonate. The mine can launch the warhead to a height of 5 meters vertically upward. It can effectively kill mechas flying below 8 meters. As long as a mech enters the range of 10 meters from the mine will be triggered, and it will automatically calculate the movement trajectory of the mech and eject the warhead. The warhead of the TM-83 anti-mech mine is equipped with a large amount of high explosives and alloy fragments, which can effectively kill mechas. Even if some mecha cockpits have thick armor, the head and other detectors are not armored after all. Once the mecha is affected, it will lose its combat effectiveness. Moreover, many mecha divisions were killed by the strong shock wave of the explosion. At this time, the news reached the command center of the Watchstar space station. The heavy losses were beyond everyone's expectations. Almost an entire base of mecha troops were lost. Let the troops withdraw. The losses are too great. A staff officer said. Withdraw. You said it lightly, withdrawing without even seeing the shadow of the enemy. Do you want us to become a laughingstock? We are soldiers, and there will be sacrifices in combat. Moreover, in recent years, we have lost more than this number of mechas every year. Even if the losses this time are larger, we will be solved once and for all if we take down the reptile gang, Lieutenant General Hens said firmly. But the enemy's situation is unclear. That's because they are too slow. We have superior forces, but they are still dawdling. I order all troops to move forward at full speed, regardless of the cost, and take down the reptile gang in one go. Hens roared hysterically. Colonel Bercy frowned after receiving the order from his superior. Although he didn't understand it at all, he couldn't disobey the order and could only execute it. All storm long-range attack mechas, if they reach the range, immediately launch an attack on the enemy, and the rest of the troops rush forward, and the distance between the mechas should be kept at 10 to 15 meters. Bercy issued an attack order. At this time, a Ranger aircraft with a huge flying wing and 4 rotor propellers installed on its back was taken to an altitude of several hundred meters. The head and shoulders of this Ranger are equipped with a large number of complex detection equipment. This mecha is an observation mecha for long-range attack mechas. It quickly sent the situation and coordinates of the reptile gang headquarters base 10 kilometers away to each mecha through the data link. At this time, more than a dozen Storm long-range attack mechas stopped. The support devices were lowered from the mecha chassis, and the barrels of the twin 155mm guns were pointed to the sky. Several Storm mechas equipped with multiple rocket launchers also began to aim at the target. At this time, several large ammunition supply vehicles followed closely from behind. A rumbling sound of artillery and the scream of rocket launchers tore the tranquility at dawn. Dozens of mechas on the ground of the reptile gang base became scrap metal under the saturation attack of heavy artillery and a large number of rockets, and the remaining Sand Bandit mechas retreated underground. At this time, the military mecha troops quickly approached the reptile gang base under the cover of their own artillery fire. Along the way, except for the accidental encounter with anti-mecha mines that caused the loss of dozens of mechas, the military did not encounter any resistance. Nearly 1,000 mechas rushed into the reptile gang base. The mechas of both sides launched a fierce exchange of fire at the entrance of the base's underground facilities. At this time, a shrill alarm sounded in the quicksand base, which was a level 1 red combat alarm. The radar showed that more than 300 mechas of various types were approaching at high speed. The base became busy instantly, and the infantry ran to their gun positions one after another. The only 10 remaining mechas were dispatched urgently. The base command center on the ground urgently sank to the underground floor. The base quickly sent a distress signal to the space station, the landing base and the mecha troops, but the sky was filled with strong electromagnetic interference at this time. Colonel Nickel smiled bitterly. "We have fallen into a trap." Then he gave an order. "Only by resisting with all your strength can there be a glimmer of hope. The sand bandits will not take any prisoners." The soldiers left behind in the quicksand base fought very bravely. They launched a fierce attack on the sand bandits with the base's artillery. However, the quicksand base, which had been expanded in scale, had too long a front line and limited coverage of the turrets. Often, they were attacked by more than a dozen rockets at the same time as they had just destroyed a mecha. The outermost defense of the base was instantly broken, and the crazy sand bandits poured into the quicksand base. They wantonly destroyed the buildings on the ground and slaughtered the people on the ground. Several mechas fired shotguns at the desert goddess bar, and several other mechas used alloy swords to destroy the walls of the bar. Suddenly, a secret door suddenly opened under the pond outside the bar, and the water in the pond surged instantly, and a black tornado mecha rushed out. This mecha is different from ordinary ones. The armor of the fuselage is made of reinforced alloy. On the shield of the mecha, there are 2 black bears painted. It turned out that just a few minutes ago, Li Pai rushed into the command center. "Captain Nickel, the base can't be defended. Come with me, I can fight my way out." Li Pai begged bitterly. He had been a soldier under Nickel since he just joined the army. Nickel took good care of him, and the two were like brothers. Later, Li Pai was seriously injured and lost 2 legs and 1 palm. Although current medical technology can also treat it, it requires too high a cost. Lieutenant Colonel Nickel later became the commander of the quicksand base. Li Pai, who has retired, also followed him here and opened this desert goddess bar. "Old bear, run away. If you can, go ahead and inform the launch base." "I can't run away because I'm the highest commander here," Colonel Nickel said calmly. "You will die, Brother Nickel. They are sand bandits," Li Bear said anxiously. "This is the fate of our soldiers. I have not brought shame to this uniform if I die on the battlefield." He looked at Li Bear and said calmly, "Old bear, my son is 10 years old. He is in my hometown with my ex-wife. If possible, help me take care of him. Go, this is an order." "Yes, sir." Li Bear saluted, tears welling up. "Go to the 13th elevator. There is a mecha in the hangar there, which is specially prepared for you. It is under your bar. This is the startup key. Hurry up." As he said that, Nickel handed him something. Li Bear took the key and the two hugged each other tightly. Then he turned and left. "Good luck, my brother, and safe journey," Nickel said silently in his heart. Chapter 81, Gushing Quicksand. Li Pai came to the hangar and inserted the secret key into the door. The door of the hangar slowly opened, and he found a black modified tornado heavy mecha inside. He was a mecha master of tornado when he served in the army. This mecha uses a brand new armor, which is lighter, and the shield is smaller and thinner, but the protection is much stronger than before. The enhanced high-power mecha engine, strengthened joint parts, and 2 more sets of batteries were added. Li Pai sat in the cockpit and put on the mental induction headband. The long-lost fighting feeling instantly returned to his body, and his blood boiled. The mecha engine ran slowly, and at this time the secret door on the top of the elevator suddenly opened, and a large amount of water poured into the elevator. The catapult started, ejecting the black tornado mecha out of the ground. The mechas that were destroying the bar did not expect such an ambush. The engine of the hurricane mecha roared, and 2 alloy swords flew up and down. In a few seconds, 6 mechas of the sand bandits were chopped into scrap metal. Li Xiang put away an alloy sword, held the shield in front of him, held the alloy sword in his right hand, turned the engine power to the maximum, and rushed to a gap in the wall. At this time, a large number of sand bandits mechas were scattered inside the base, and could not form a siege against the hurricane mecha. The hurricane mecha rushed over under the shooting of the shotgun, and waved the alloy sword when it encountered a mecha blocking the way. No mecha was his enemy. Finally, after destroying another 8 mechas, the Hurricane Mecha rushed out of the base wall and went away in the direction of the launch base. As the ground facilities were destroyed, a large number of sand bandits mechas rushed to the entrances of several elevators. They didn't know that Yuri was going to escape, but they knew that Yuri had made a big plan to deal a devastating blow to several military bases. Yuri also offered a high bonus for this. The more people killed and the more facilities destroyed, the higher the reward. This group of sand bandits went crazy and entered the base's underground from the elevator in trance. At this time, Nickel was sitting alone in the command center, and everyone else tried every means to escape. Nickel smiled and looked at the images of various locations on the big screen of the base. His thoughts went back to 10 years ago. At that time, the quicksand base was just a small supply station, and Nickel was just a major. The military decided to expand this supply station into a military base. At this time, a private soldier in his 40s came. This private soldier was called Free, and he didn't even look at him. Because the conditions here at the quicksand base were too harsh, no senior mecha repairman was willing to come here. This guy was said to have worked in the Tang Dynasty group for many years, and even the fleet wanted to scramble for him, but he specifically wanted to come to the quicksand base. In the later contact, he learned that this private Free had a blood feud with the reptile gang. This private soldier was unruly and very talented. The two were not convinced of each other and often quarreled. The base was under construction. One day, Private Free suddenly found him and asked Nicole to build a secret workshop for him and help him transport a batch of equipment from another planet. Free also promised to give him a big gift. Nicole agreed to improve the strength of the base. Private Free personally changed the blueprint of the base and designed a special room on the basement floor. He said it was for the big gift. A few months later, the base was completely built, and Free's things were also delivered. He mysteriously invited Nicole to come to the room to see the gift. This is a cylindrical object with a length of 2 meters and a diameter of nearly 1 meter. There is a yellow-bottomed black clover logo on the outer shell of the object. Nicole almost peed his pants on the spot. This is. Nicole pointed at the thing and couldn't speak. Don't call it this. This is a nuclear bomb, given to you. Free said proudly. You lunatic, what do I need a nuclear bomb for? Fight the bandits, a nuclear bomb that can kill hundreds of thousands of people to fight the bandits, you can think of that. And don't you know that the Milky Way now prohibits the possession and use of nuclear weapons? Do you want me to go to military court? Nickel was completely furious. It's not launched at the bandits, it's for our own use. Free said calmly. What? For ourselves. Nickel thought he had heard it wrong. What do I use it for? To generate electricity or to set off fireworks for myself? He could no longer keep calm. Let me ask you a question. If the bandits break into the base, can you guarantee that the base will not be occupied by the bandits? Free said. Nickel was silent. He thought about the question carefully and then said, no. Free then asked, if the bandits broke into the base, do you think they would let the people in the base survive? Will you survive? No, it's even worse than death. Nickel replied. Then do you want to send your enemies to hell before you die? Free asked again. Nickel nodded. He understood that this was how the gift was to be used. The two worked together to place the nuclear bomb in this special room in the middle of the base. Free also specially designed a detonation program, and Nickel set a password. Through his personal terminal, he could detonate the nuclear bomb at any location in the base. Nickel opened his personal terminal, called up a password input box, and began to enter a long string of passwords. This password was deeply ingrained in his mind, and he would think about it several times every day, although he never wanted to use this password. For 10 years, he left everything in the quicksand base. Faces appeared in front of him, his ex-wife. Because he devoted all his energy to the base and neglected his wife filed for a divorce. Thinking about it now, I really feel sorry for her. My son, Frank, should be 12 years old now, and he will soon become a man. Free, you old man, I wanted to go to hell with you, but you ran away. Bessie, my old partner for many years, hurry up and find a woman to marry. Freya, the queen of the base. You have brought too much color to the base. Li Xiang, take care of yourself. And, Xia Xingchen, that lucky little guy. At this time, Several mechas of the sand bandits had broken into the hall outside the window of the command center. Seeing that there were still people here, they raised their shotguns. Colonel Michael looked at the enemy with a smile and calmly entered the last letter. A moment later, the quicksand base erupted. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 82 Withered Rose. Just as the military forces were besieging the reptile gang headquarters base, a bandit mecha unit consisting of 40 direwolves and 2 special mechas raided the landing ship launch base. There were nearly 30 mechas left at the launch base, barely supported by the base's fortress firepower, and they quickly sent a distress signal to the space station command center. At this time, the large force had just broken through the outer positions of the reptile gang headquarters, and the headquarters sent a message saying that the landing base was attacked and requested support. Oh, no, we've fallen into a trap. This is a feint to the east and attack to the west. Yuri wants to seize the launch orbit. Colonel Bercy made a judgment immediately. Lieutenant Haji, you are now in full command of the attack force of the quicksand base. Freya, let's go to the rescue launch base. Haji's combat command level is also one of the best in the entire quicksand base. No one doubted that Bercy handed over the command to him. Bercy's Royal Knight mech is a very outstanding high-speed close combat mech. Only his mech and wrench number 2 in the quicksand base have long-distance flight capabilities. Royal Knight mech, 5.2 meters high. Parameters: Strength 15, Agility 19, Speed 22, Armor 15. This mech is a close combat high-speed mech with extremely fast speed, very thin fuselage armor, high-power thrusters and foldable flying wings on the back. The weapon system is a light night gun and a light sword hidden in the shield. When attacking from a distance, the night gun can retract the light blade and emit lasers for use as a laser rifle. The 2 mechas were flying at high speed in the sky, and suddenly a mushroom cloud rose from the quicksand base in the distance. This is a nuclear bomb. The base is finished. Colonel Bercy said this while suppressing his anger. Freya covered her mouth in disbelief, tears welling up in her eyes. Freya, don't let your anger and sadness affect your emotions. It will be a tough battle later. You have to turn your grief into strength to avenge everyone. If you can't control your emotions, I suggest you withdraw from the battle. Bercy said seriously. This kind of emotion can be fatal on the battlefield. Freya stopped crying and bit her lip. Uncle, I can do it. There is a huge lake next to the launch base of the landing ship of Watchstar. It provides a lot of fresh water for the base and also docks some landing spacecraft. Next to the lake is a towering launch platform. At this time, a large landing ship is parked at a section of the launch platform. At this time, all the resistance forces of the base have been eliminated, and the attackers have only paid the price of 12 mechas being destroyed. At this time, they are preparing to drive the mechas to board the ship collectively, and several mechas are busy installing bombs. At this time, the command center of the base is already full of corpses. The monitoring equipment has also been completely destroyed. There is only one soldier with the rank of corporal, who is an agent arranged by the North. He will operate the launch platform here, and after the landing ship is launched, he will secretly make up and slip away to continue lurking. The direwolf mecha began to board the ship. The direwolf that Yuri was riding boarded the large landing ship first. Suddenly, several lasers were shot from a distance. Suddenly, 2 direwolves were hit in the head and exploded. The other direwolf mechas quickly dispersed and entered combat status. The laser cannons behind them fired at the 2 mechas flying in the sky. Freya and Bercy dodged the laser shooting with high maneuvers. At this time, a mecha that looks like a gorilla rushed out of the mecha group and rushed towards the Royal Knight on the ground. The 2 twin medium laser cannons on its shoulders were aimed at the sky and fired wildly. This mecha was the Mecha King Kong Overlord of Bloodhound Campbell. The King Kong Overlord mecha is 6 meters high. Parameters: Strength 20, Agility 18, Speed 15, Armor 20. The weapon system is an electric sword extending from the forearm of the hand, with 4 twin laser cannons on the shoulder, and the chest can be opened, which contains a row of 16 mounted macro anti-mecha missiles. Its armor is very thick, and the hardness of its two forearms is comparable to that of a shield, which can resist lasers and resist light energy swords. The two are old rivals. They are both sea-level mecha masters with equal strength. They have fought 7 or 8 times without a clear winner, and now they are fighting again. Freya hovered in the sky, constantly fighting back with laser rifles in the dense laser fire of the opponent. More than 10 minutes later, 4 more dire wolves were destroyed. However, Freya, who was concentrating on avoiding the fire of the control, did not notice that a mecha quietly climbed to the top of the transport ship. This was a beast-shaped mecha. It was like a wolf, motionless, quietly observing its prey. A few minutes later, Andre showed an ugly smile in his mask. He finally discovered the driving rules of the pilot of the Red Ranger. Many pilots will have a subconscious habitual action when doing high-speed maneuvers to avoid the fire of the control. For example, when the laser is shot from an angle, which direction will be faster to dodge and easier to connect to the next action? These will become an instinct after countless training of the pilot. But in a long battle, this instinct can easily form a rule and be seen by those top mecha masters. The wolf found a weakness and bared its fangs. Freya had just dodged 4 lasers when she found that 4 more lasers were locked onto her. These 4 lasers were very dense, so she habitually turned around, rolled and dived, and the mecha's body reversed to avoid the 4 lasers. However, 2 heavy lasers were ready, aiming at the position where she was going to dive, and 2 thick purple laser lights flashed. Wrench number 2 was hit by 2 heavy lasers on the back at the same time, and the mecha exploded and disintegrated in mid-air, and hundreds of debris fell into the lake. Freya. Colonel Bercy was heartbroken when he saw Freya's plane explode. But in a duel between masters, every second of distraction is fatal. As soon as he was distracted, the King Kong Overlord on the opposite side rushed over at high speed. The power of the Royal Knight and the King Kong Overlord was completely different. It was too late to dodge at this time. He could only cross the Knight's gun and put it on the chest of the mecha. There was a loud bang, and the Royal Knight was knocked dozens of meters away like a person encountering a high-speed running rhino, and fell heavily into the lake. The forearm joints of the 2 mechas were broken. Colonel Bercy's head received a serious concussion and fell into a deep coma. At this time, Campbell still wanted to chase him and end his life, but the tail engine of the large landing ship began to ignite. Campbell, if you don't get on the plane, we will leave first, Yuri reminded in the communicator. TMD, it's a bargain for him. Save this dog's life first. As he said, the King Kong Overlord mecha and other mechas boarded the large landing ship and the hatch was closed. Chapter 83, Escape from Watchtower. The coil on the orbital launcher began to energize, and the landing ship began to accelerate forward, speeding up, and finally rushed vertically upward into space. 8 rocket engines spewed flames violently. A minute later, violent explosions occurred in various parts of the launch pad. The towering launch pad lost its support and slowly fell down, finally becoming a ruin. At this time, the underground exit of the reptile gang base was finally lost, and hundreds of mechas rushed in. However, 2 minutes later, a violent explosion occurred in the underground base of the reptile gang headquarters. The entire underground base collapsed instantly in the explosion. A total of more than 700 military mechas were buried underground, and none of these mecha divisions survived. At this time, a series of bad news reached the command center of the space station. The quicksand base was attacked by a nuclear bomb. The army attacking the reptile gang headquarters lost thousands of mechas. Nearly 1,000 mecha divisions were sacrificed. The landing ship launch base was captured again. The personnel were slaughtered. The launch pad was blown up, and Yuri fled to space. Ah! Hen screamed, foaming at the mouth, and falling to the ground. The command center suddenly became even more chaotic. People hurriedly sent Hens to the medical room. After entering the medical room, the doctor turned around to prepare the medicine. Hens suddenly opened his eyes and heard 3 gunshots in the room. A doctor and 2 nurses fell in a pool of blood. Hens curled his lips. He was very satisfied with his acting skills. Then he left quickly and came to the space dock of the space station. At this time, a high-speed space shuttle had already been prepared here. Then, the shuttle ignited and left the space station. His destination was a Siberian Star Heavy cruiser lurking not far from the space station. However, a few minutes later, the space shuttle that Hens was riding exploded like a huge firework in space. Several important docks of the space station also exploded, causing riots. Not far away, in another shuttle, Alyosha looked at the fireworks and laughed. The dead are the best at keeping secrets, not to mention that Lord Nicholas's army does not want such a senior officer without principles and integrity. As for their families, Alyosha had sent them to another world to reunite with Hens a week ago. Moreover, the money in Hen's secret account was also transferred away. After all, the dead don't need money. More than 10 minutes later, the shuttle and the landing ship arrived at the designated location at the same time, and the Siberian Star was already waiting here. After the Mechas and personnel boarded the cruiser, Andre reset the automatic driving programs of the shuttle and the landing ship. The two spacecraft turned around and rushed to the space station, crashing into the dock of the spaceport, causing a larger explosion. The Siberian Star flew north along a secret route. Chang'an Starfield, Changwei 2. Father Free and Xia Xingchen have been a little overwhelmed these days. They went to nearly 100 mecha parts manufacturers and found that, because the manufacturers' schedules were too full, it would take half a year to produce the parts at full speed. The two had no choice but to place an order first. After the parts were produced, they would be sent directly to Father Free's home and received by the smart butler. They could only wait for half a year before asking for leave to come back. Oh, I'll have to have a big fight with that gynacle again. Father scratched his head and said self-deprecatingly. At this time, the two personal terminals received a message at the same time. This is a level 1 emergency return notice. Generally, such a notice is issued when something very serious has happened. Soldiers who receive this notice must return to the team as soon as possible, whether they are on vacation or on a mission. The two looked at each other and said something happened at the same time. They quickly put down their work, took Hugo, and drove the spacecraft to the highest speed. Finally, after 7 days of long journey day and night, they returned to the Watchstar space station. Along the way, they were heavily interrogated by the military, especially when they were about to reach the space station. They were intercepted many times. When they arrived at the Watchstar space station, they were stunned by the scene in front of them. The space was densely packed with warships, and he even saw the flagship of the Third Fleet, the heavy space carrier Thor's Hammer. The spaceport of Watchstar was bombed into tatters. After getting off the spaceship, they were shocked by a series of news. General Hennis, the highest military commander of the Watchstar space station, had rebelled and was then killed in a space shuttle, with his entire family mysteriously missing. Yuri of the reptile gang successfully escaped from Watchstar with a large number of his confidants. The quicksand base was attacked by a nuclear bomb, and all the remaining personnel, including the commander, Lieutenant Colonel Nickel, were killed. The troops that went to attack the reptile gang headquarters encountered a trap, lost more than 1,200 mechas, more than 900 mecha divisions were killed, and more than 200 were seriously injured and disabled. The remaining personnel at the landing ship launch base were almost all massacred, and the launch pad was blown up. Captain Torin Beric of the 06th Squad were killed. Perlo's mecha was attacked by an anti-mecha mine, and his brain was severely damaged, and he was blind. And Haji fell into deep self-blame and almost went crazy, because he failed to judge the reptile gang's conspiracy in advance when commanding the troops, resulting in a large number of comrades being buried alive. Colonel Bessie suffered a concussion, and his life support system was damaged after his mecha fell into the lake. Long-term lack of oxygen caused a large number of brain cells to die, and he became a vegetable, and Freya was killed in the battle. Her mecha was broken, and not even her body was left. Hearing that Freya was in trouble, Xia Xingchen suddenly felt that his brain was severely damaged and fainted. Father Free burst into tears. Nichel, you dead thing, why didn't you wait for me to use that thing? Chapter 84 The Road to Revenge. A day later, Xia Xingchen woke up in a daze. He sat there stupidly, his eyes dull. He didn't eat or drink. He didn't respond when others called him, and he kept thinking about every little thing he had with Freya. Father Free couldn't stand it anymore, and he slapped Xia Xingchen a dozen times. Xia Xingchen, if you are still a man, cheer up. Look at how decadent you are now. Are you worthy of Freya's spirit in heaven? Now the base is gone. Only you have the ability to avenge them. Look at yourself. What are you doing? Father Free said, picked up a data storage device, and threw it on his face, leaving a bloody mark. This is the murderer who killed Freya. You can do whatever you want. The old man turned around and left angrily. Xia Xingchen was awakened by the beating. He picked up the data storage device tremblingly and plugged it into the monitor in the room. There were many mecha battle videos in it, which were taken by the backup monitoring system of the base. It was a transformable mecha, sometimes in human form, sometimes in wolf form. The only thing that remained unchanged was its brutal fighting style. One military mecha after another was torn to pieces by it, and in the end it shot a bullet in the cockpit of each mecha, which was very cruel. In the last video, Freya's wrench second soared in the air, and the cunning wolf lurked on the top of the spacecraft, suddenly emitting 6 destructive lasers. Xia Xingchen's eyes were wet again. He clenched his fists, and his teeth bit the corners of his mouth. No matter where you hide, I will pull you out and tear you into pieces. At this time, a soldier came, and looking at his armband, he was from the Thor's hammer. General von Klorsch wants to see you. Please follow me. What happened on Watchstar spread throughout the military in an instant. The rebellion of a senior general at the level of major general, and the loss of most of the military power of the entire planet, was simply a disaster. In a rage, the Grand Marshal of the Galactic Empire, von Bismarck, directly removed the Commander-in-Chief of the Third Fleet, von Stringer. The old commander of the Third Fleet also knew that he was to blame for this matter. Even if it was to shut everyone up, he had to be the scapegoat. In order to clean up this mess, the military directly appointed Lieutenant General von Klorsch, commander of the 1st Squadron of the 3rd Fleet, as the acting commander. After receiving the order, von Klorsch quickly led the 3rd Squadron to Watchstar. Rescue the wounded, identify the insiders, arrest the sand bandits, rebuild the space station and landing base, restore order. This series of work was carried out quickly and effectively. Suddenly, he remembered that there was an outstanding young man on Watchstar, so he asked about Xia Xingchen's whereabouts. He learned that he had escaped the disaster by chance, but his comrades and girlfriend died in the catastrophe. Now he was in deep grief, and wanted to talk to Xia Xingchen. What do you want to do most now? General von Klorsch asked without thinking. I want revenge. Xia Xingchen replied. Do you know who the murderer is? I don't know, but I will find him, even if I go to the edge of the universe. Xia Xingchen said, gritting his teeth. I know who the murderer is. General, please tell me. Xia Xingchen's eyes lit up. That mecha division was at best just a thug. He caused the chaos of the entire Watchstar for more than 10 years. The mastermind behind this conspiracy was Prince Nicholas, the local tyrant of the Northern Administrative Region. General von Klorsch told Xia Xingchen the whole story, including Nicholas' ambition, the conspiracy of Watchstar, and the means of placing stinging scorpions on other planets. You can imagine what kind of reaction an ordinary soldier would have when hearing about these conspiracies and ambitions of the top leaders. Xia Xingchen was stunned, and stood there with his mouth open, unable to speak. So, even if you kill that mecha division, the mastermind behind the murder of Freya and your comrades is still at large. Von Klorsch added. After a long while, Xia Xingchen said bitterly, I must kill that mecha master. Prince Nicholas, I will not let him go. Haha, that's easy to say. You won't let him go? What can you do? Kill him. Nicholas is an S-class mecha master. His northern fleet is as powerful as the first fleet of the Galactic Empire. And through the incident on Watchstar, you have seen that he has countless assassins like Yuri. What can you do to fight him? Von Klorsch mocked. You have nothing but a heart of revenge now. Xia Xingchen was stunned. He suddenly realized that he was too weak. General, I want to become stronger. I need strength. Please show me a way. We will have a war with the North sooner or later. Nicholas is a man who lives for ambition. Crushing his ambition is the greatest punishment for him. Xingchen, you are a talented person, but it is not enough. I have a place for the Imperial Military Command Academy. I hope you can study and improve yourself. After you come back, you can play a greater role in the army. You will personally crush Nicholas's conspiracy. Then you will naturally have the opportunity to fight that mecha division. Von Klorsch gave his suggestion. General, I'm willing. Xia Xingchen answered firmly. In addition, you must remember that you are not alone. Don't fight alone. You can find those who have been ruined by Nicholas and unite them together. Some things should be known to people, von Klausch said meaningfully. After returning from General von Klausch, Father Free listened to Xia Xingchen's story and smiled bitterly. He knew that the reptile gang was not simple, but he didn't know that there was such a behemoth behind it. But the next moment, his eyes showed a trace of determination. Since his family was destroyed, and he had nothing left, what else was there to worry about? Whether it was the reptile gang or Nicholas, he would fight to the death, even if he had to sacrifice his life. Boy, General von Klausch is right. You should go and study. Then we can find some like-minded people, and wait for an opportunity to accumulate strength and stab Nicholas in the back when he is in the most difficult time. Father Free's eyes showed a gleam of light. Chapter 85, Revenge. The living area of the Watchstar space station is a bath street. A ragged, dirty, and unshaven man walked on the street late at night. He held a bottle of wine in his hand and took a sip from time to time, muttering, "Dead, all dead. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have let them in. Why didn't you wait until I got in before you collapsed? Why did you torture me like this?" Suddenly, a figure appeared behind him and chopped him on the back of his neck with a hand knife, and he fainted immediately. The next morning, he finally woke up. His head was swollen and his whole body was sore. He struggled to get up and found himself in a small hotel. There was a note left at the head of the bed. He picked it up, opened it, and a line of words appeared in his eyes. "Haji, if you want to avenge your dead comrades, come to this address to find me. I will tell you the truth, and we will take revenge together. If you still want to continue to blame yourself and escape, just get out." Haji was distracted, and the note slipped from his hand to the ground. Li Pai walked aimlessly in the Watchstar space station. He stared at Watchstar through the transparent glass dome of the space station, and his mood was still difficult to calm down. The space station has been blocked by the military, and he is trapped here. The earliest spacecraft to the Chang'an starfield will be in 5 days. Liu Pai, someone suddenly called him. Crossing. Xingchen. Seeing Xia Xingchen, Li Xiang thought of the guys at the quicksand base. Except for Nickel, he had a deep relationship with every guest who went to the Desert Goddess Bar. They always chatted and boasted together, and he was familiar with everyone among them. Although he was used to the fact that there were often guys who never came back after participating in the mission, he couldn't accept it when they were all gone at once. Thinking of this, a rough man in his early 40s just hugged Xia Xingchen and burst into tears. After a long time, he stopped crying. "Old Xiang, where are you going next?" Xia Xingchen asked. "I don't know either. I want to see Frank, the son of Commander Nickel, first. This is his last wish. Then make other plans." Li Xiang replied. "Do you want revenge?" Xia Xingchen asked. "Yes, I dream about it, but where can I find Yuri and the others? The universe is so big, and their power is also very huge. Revenge is probably not easy." Li Pai sighed. Xia Xingchen handed him a note and turned to leave. It said, "If you want revenge, come to this address at night." In the military hospital of the Watchtower space station, Perlo was lying on the hospital bed in despair. His mecha triggered the anti-mecha mine, and the shrapnel shattered the armor of the cockpit and passed through his eyes, not only shattering both eyeballs, but also cutting off the optic nerve. Such injuries are difficult to heal even with cloning technology in the biological warehouse. In his next life, he can only receive the meager pension and spend his life in darkness. He hated himself very much and hated that he could not avenge his dead comrades. The door of the ward opened and Xia Xingchen walked in. "Perlo, I'm here to see you." "Xingchen, is that you?" Perlo sobbed. His tear glands were damaged and he could no longer shed tears. "Perlo, I have decided to avenge Captain Tor, Beric, and all the comrades who died in the base. Do you want to participate?" Xia Xingchen asked. "I want revenge all the time, but now I'm a useless person. I deserve to die. I can't help you." Perlo burst into tears. Xia Xingchen waited until he calmed down and said, "There is a chance now. Through an operation and a device, you can see the light again and have the opportunity to avenge your comrades. However, this operation is very painful and there is a high chance that you will die on the operating table. You should think about it seriously." Perlo's body straightened up instantly, and he held Xia Xingchen's hand tightly. Xingchen, let me undergo the operation. I can't stand lying in bed for the rest of my life. I want to avenge them. Xingchen, if you hadn't come to me, I would probably have committed suicide in a few days. I'm not afraid of death. At worst, I can go to accompany the captain and the others. Okay, I'll pick you up in the evening and we'll go somewhere. Late at night, in the half-repaired spaceport of the Watchster space station, a Far Traveler V space rover was parked here. But this spaceship is far from as simple as it looks. Under the silver-grey paint of the hull is the armor material of a space battleship, and the engine is also the engine of a military battleship. There are also 4 hidden laser naval guns on the spaceship. At this time, in the living cabin of the spaceship, several people were sitting around a table. Among them were General von Klausch, Xia Xingchen, Father Free, Li Xiang, Haji, Perlo in a wheelchair, and the alien Hugo. Just now, General von Klausch once again introduced the ins and outs of the Watchstar incident to them. The room fell into deep silence. Grief, shock, and anger lingered in everyone's heart. Seeing this, General von Klausch spoke. Nicholas is a very powerful opponent. If we only rely on our current strength to fight him, it is tantamount to hitting a rock with an egg. Therefore, we must unite, gather people with similar experiences together, and develop our strength secretly. Sooner or later, Nicholas and the Empire will have a war. That time is the opportunity. You must stab Nicholas in the back with the most fatal knife at the most critical moment. However, this matter is not as easy as you think. The opponent is a person who will do anything, so we must also do anything to deal with him. Means such as assassination, creating riots, suicide attacks, poisoning, kidnapping, and rumor mongering will be used. If anyone feels guilty about their so-called conscience, they can withdraw now. I will not force them. But once you confirm that you have joined, there is only one way, which is to fight to the end. There is no turning back. You have to think clearly. The general added. Don't think about it. I will join. Even if my hands are covered in blood, I will definitely drag Nicholas to hell with me. Xia Xingchen said firmly. I'm an old man with bones. My whole family died in their hands. Count me in. Father Free said. I love killing people the most. When the time comes, give me a few nuclear bombs and I will throw them all on Siberia. Li Xiang said. I'm most suitable for conspiracy. I will do my best to let Nicholas have a good taste. Haji sneered. You must take me with you. I'm very good at shooting from behind. I will make them live in deep fear. Perlo said. I, Xingchen, servant, follow, to avenge. Hugo had finally figured out what happened to Xia Xingchen these days. He was very angry and said he wanted to avenge his master Xia Xingchen. Well, since everyone agrees to join, our organization will be established from today. You are all Xia Xingchen's friends. I suggest that he be the leader of the organization. What do you think? Said von Klausch. Everyone nodded in agreement. Then Xingchen, give the organization a name. Von Klausch looked at Xia Xingchen. I don't have much education, so let's ask everyone to help think of one. Xia Xingchen declined. At this time, Haji spoke. I think we should call him Yazi. Yazi is the second son of the dragon in the ancient mythology of the earth. It has a leopard body and a dragon head. It has a strong personality, is brave and good at fighting, and is bloodthirsty and aggressive. It always holds a sword in its mouth and glares. It is often carved on the hilt and scabbard, to increase its own power. In ancient times on Earth, the phrase Yazi must take revenge was always used to describe the desire for revenge against someone. For what Nicholas did to us, we must take revenge. What a good name. Our organization will be called Yazi. Nicholas, we will become your nightmare. Chapter 86. In this way, the Yazi organization was established with the purpose of revenge on Nicholas. General von Klausch said that this organization would have nothing to do with the military, but he would personally help them in a private capacity. These helps include some startup funds, some veterans, some equipment discarded by the army, a secret place that once belonged to their family, and various intelligence support. For example, the modified high-speed space rover and desert night mecha they were in, as well as Li Xiang's tornado modified mecha, were all disposed of by von Klausch in the name of scrapped equipment. Except for Xia Xingchen, the other few people withdrew from active service, which was also to prevent them from being found by interested people, and at the same time, get rid of many constraints. After all, many things cannot be done in the name of the army. The spaceship took off, and several people would first take the mecha to Changli 2, where they would purchase a batch of equipment, and perform surgery on Perlo, and then go their separate ways. Xia Xingchen went to the Imperial Military Command Academy to study, while the others went to the secret base. After a week's journey, the spaceship finally arrived at Changli 2. Everyone got off the spaceship, and stayed at Father Free's house temporarily. The next day, Father Free, Xia Xingchen, Li Xiang and Perlo took a hover car to Dr. Lila's clinic in the city center. On the way, several people talked to Father Free about the strange Dr. Mr. Lila. Dr. Lila is in his 60s. Due to the rapid progress of human science and technology, the average age of humans can reach 150 years old, and those under 80 years old are all in their prime. Some martial artists and those who have undergone genetic modification can even drive mechas after they are over 100 years old. It is said that Dr. Lila's ancestors were doctors for dozens of generations. He was born in Changli 2. There are almost no boys born in this social environment who are not interested in machinery. Lila has been obsessed with mechanical design and manufacturing since he was a child. However, his family forced him to study medicine because it was a family inheritance. Lila was very reluctant, but he couldn't beat his parents. Later, in the process of studying medicine, Lila suddenly had an idea. Why not combine mechanical manufacturing so that he could satisfy his hobbies and explain to his parents? There are many disabled people in this world, but not everyone can afford the biotherapy cabin cloning technology to regenerate broken limbs. Therefore, inexpensive mechanical prostheses and mechanical organs have become the first choice for these people. Dr. Lila focused his research on this, which made his father angry. But Dr. Lila is indeed gifted in this regard. The prostheses he designed and manufactured are first class in terms of function and quality. Even many warriors who lost their limbs have doubled their combat effectiveness after being equipped with the prostheses he invented. So much so that some martial arts maniacs even sawed off their limbs to find him to install armed prostheses. Of course, Dr. Lila is also an avid mecha enthusiast. Although the Galactic Empire does not allow private ownership and use of military mechas, many privately customized civilian mechas are much more powerful than military mechas. And in Changli 2, it is still very easy to get a few places for test mechas. When Father Free was the senior after-sales service manager of the Tang Dynasty Group, he helped him modify many mechas, and also helped Lila get a lot of places for mecha experimental machines through various channels. The two have a very good personal relationship. Otherwise, with the level of Perlo and Li Xiang, they are not qualified to let Dr. Lila treat them personally. Li Xiang's prosthesis is just an ordinary commodity, which has no effect on daily life, but it is too much of a stretch to use it in combat. For a powerful warrior, this is a constraint. Therefore, Father Free and Xia Xingchen discussed it, and simply brought him together to change a set of armed prostheses. Dr. Lila's clinic has arrived. It is called a clinic, but its scale is no less than that of a large comprehensive hospital. In front of us is a modern building with more than 50 floors. There is also a large factory behind the building. Father Free introduced, this whole building is a hospital and wards, which can accommodate tens of thousands of patients. The factory behind the hospital building is the production workshop of mechanical prostheses, which are not only supplied to Lila Hospital, but also exported to all parts of the Milky Way. Walking into the hospital lobby and passing through the elevator room, there are more than 20 high-speed elevators shuttling up and down. The 4 people went straight through here, and a small room appeared in front of them, with 4 guards in front of the room. Please step back, sir. This is a private elevator. Seeing someone coming, the 4 guards stood up one after another, as if they were facing a great enemy. The mechanical arms on their bodies changed, and laser gun barrels and light energy blades extended from their arms. There have been many cases of interstellar pirates trying to kidnap Dr. Lila in the past, so he is now protected by a large number of bodyguards wherever he goes. And these bodyguards are equipped with armed prostheses. I'm here to see Dr. Lila. I've already made an appointment. Please inform him and tell him That Free is here. The guards contacted Lila's personal assistant and agreed to let the four of them take a special elevator. After getting a clear answer, they came to the top floor and entered a luxurious waiting room. Several hot female assistants enthusiastically brought all kinds of drinks and food. Not long after, a middle-aged man who looked only in his early 40s walked out of a room. This man was the strange Dr. Lila. He saw Free and the two hugged each other tightly. "Old man, I didn't expect you to be the original one. I thought you had to replace at least half of your parts over the years." Free teased. "Me? I won't get a mechanical organ until I'm 100 years old at the earliest. Look at all the beautiful female assistants I have. I still want to enjoy life." Lila laughed. "But you, old man, I haven't seen you for 10 years, and you've aged so much. Well, you know, Watchster is exposed to the wind and sun, and I work hard for revenge all day long. It would be strange if I didn't get old." Father Free sighed. "I'm still waiting for the day when you die. I will send someone to pick up your brain and make you a mechanical body. It has no hands and feet and cannot speak, only eyes and ears. I will put you in the bedroom and let you watch me every day when I have sex with beautiful women, so that you will be jealous." Lila joked. "Didn't you set your sights on making the most powerful artificial penis? Have you replaced it?" Father Free smiled evilly. No, I've decided to surrender to God on this point. I've made thousands of artificial penises, but none of them can bring pleasure to both parties like the original ones. I've decided to give up this field. But if you need it, I'll consider giving you the best one, free of charge." Lila pretended to be helpless. Haha. Haha. The two laughed heartily. Chapter 87 Artificial Organs. After reminiscing about the past, several people went into Dr. Lila's private clinic together. Dr. Lila first gave Li Pai a physical examination, because his case was relatively simple. The thigh was cut off from the root. "Well, this is very good. You can install a more powerful armed prosthesis. But the left arm was only cut off from the palm. This is not good, very bad. The palm area is too small, which affects the realization of many functions. It would be better if the forearm was cut off at the root," Lila said very calmly, as if he was talking about a building block instead of a human body. The people in the room heard it. Li Pai's face was normal. For a person who cut off his palm without blinking, this was nothing, while the others felt a chill on the back of their necks and numbness in their teeth. Lila asked his assistant to bring Li Pai a tablet computer, which listed various types of mechanical prostheses, even armed prostheses. Li Pai's eyes lit up when he saw it, and he wished he could cut off the remaining arm. After watching for a long time and listening to Dr. Lila's introduction, Li Pai made a decisive decision to cut off the entire left forearm from the joint down and replace it with a more powerful armed forearm. "Good. That's refreshing." Lila gave a thumbs up. "I admire your heroism. I've decided to take out my private collection and install it for you for free." Then he told his assistant to prepare the prosthesis and came to check Perlo. Looking at the results of the whole body cord scan, Lila frowned. "How is it, doctor?" Xia Xingchen asked anxiously. "Very bad," Dr. Lila replied. "His eyeball is completely destroyed. The optic nerve of the eye is also cut off by shrapnel, and there is congestion in the brain now. The army is really a quack. They treat it this way, and there is no problem for the time being. Within half a year, he will die of cerebral hematoma. I don't know if they are really not good enough, or they do it on purpose to save medical expenses. It's damn it." Lila cursed Disitus feebly. "Is there still hope? Is the plan you mentioned okay?" asked Father Free. "An ordinary mechanical artificial eye only needs to be placed in the eye socket and connected to the optic nerve. However, his optic nerve has completely necrotized and atrophied. What's more fatal is that the part of his brain connected to the visual center has also been severely damaged. As you all know, brain and cranial nerve damage cannot be solved by current cloning technology. As for my plan, now it seems that, based on his condition, the survival rate after surgery is only 20%. Lila said helplessly. Everyone fell into silence. At this time, Dr. Lila added, "Of course, there is no problem in completely removing the blood clot in his brain and letting him live better and longer. Doctor, I've decided, I accept your plan." Perlo said calmly. I can't stand suffering in the dark for the rest of my life. I want to avenge my comrades. Lila looked at Xia Xingchen and Father Free and gave them an inquiring look. Xia Xingchen and Father Free looked at each other and nodded. That's it, then. The operation on Mr. Li Xiang is easy to do. We can start it in the afternoon, and he will be able to move normally in 2 or 3 days. Mr. Polo's eyes will go through 3 stages of surgery. Each stage will be very painful. The risk will increase as time goes by. If you feel you can't stand it anymore, you can stop at any time. In the afternoon, Li Xiang was pushed into the operating room. Professor Lila performed the operation himself. He cut off the forearm of Li Xiang's left hand and then connected the forearm nerves. Although the mechanical prosthesis is detachable, there are still some components that are directly connected to the remaining nerve tissue in the body. These parts must be connected to the body through surgery. The same is true for the installation of leg prostheses. 2 hours later, the operation was over, and Li Xiang was pushed into the biotherapy cabin. He will be able to recover in 2 or 3 days. That night, Dr. Lila hosted a banquet for several people in his luxurious manner. Father Fran and Dr. Lila were both drunk. The next day, Polo's surgery began. His surgery was divided into 3 stages, and each stage required a long recovery period. The first stage was to use a microsurgical robot to remove the rotten flesh in the patient's eye socket and use a nano-robot to corrode the atrophied optic nerve. This stage was not dangerous, but the optic nerve was an autonomic nerve and was too close to the brain. The anesthesia effect was not obvious, and the patient would feel very painful. After the operation, he needed to enter the biological treatment cabin for a 10-day recovery. The second stage was to use a micro-nano robot to enter his brain, dissolve the blood clots in the brain, and repair the damage to the brain. Since this stage was operating on the brain, the patient would be more painful, and there was a 10% mortality rate. After the operation of this stage, he had to recover in the biological cabin for a month. The third stage of the operation was also the most critical and dangerous stage. Since his eye nerves were dead, the doctor had to insert the nerve docking device of the mechanical eyeball directly into the patient's brain and directly connect to the nerve center. As long as there was a slight mistake, the patient would die. After the operation, Polo will have to stay in the biotherapy cabin for a month, and there is a great chance that he will become a vegetable. Dr. Lila performed the operation himself and successfully completed the first stage of the operation. He admired Polo very much. Despite the great pain, he gritted his teeth and persisted without saying a word. He fell asleep in the bio cabin only after he got off the operating table. At this time, Li Xiang had finished the treatment in the bio cabin and started adaptive training. Standing in the rehabilitation training hall of the hospital, Li Xiang was only wearing a pair of shorts, revealing his strong muscles. The appearance color of the mechanical prosthesis is specially formulated, which is similar to the patient's skin color, and it cannot be seen from a distance. Let's talk about Li Xiang's 2 mechanical legs first. Its material is very special, and it feels very soft, similar to rubber, but its hardness is very high. The same thickness of the impact resistance is comparable to the armor of the mecha. There are 4 sharp alloy blades hidden in the toes, insteps, soles and knees of the legs. As long as an idea comes into mind, these blades will retract freely. There are 2 high-intensity energy storage batteries in the positions of the 2 thighs. Each full charge can support 3 days of high-intensity exercise of the prosthesis, and it also supports wireless charging technology. There are also various sensors and microcomputers in the legs, which can freely control the power output of the legs when walking according to different ground conditions. Li Pai stood on the rehabilitation training ground and began to try to walk, and then began to run slowly. He ran faster and faster, and soon people could not keep up with his speed. Haha, this prosthesis can enable the owner to run at a speed of 80 km per hour. Several people who came to the hospital together showed envy in their eyes. The next step was the jumping test. In front of him was a 4-meter high wall. Li Pai took a few steps, bent his knees, and suddenly jumped into the air. He kicked the wall with his feet to gain some strength, and then his whole body was on the wall. Everyone was stunned. Dr. Lila explained, this prosthesis uses a special shock absorbing system and memory alloy springs, which can bounce people to a height of more than 3 meters. How about it? You're envious, right? If you want to get one, go for surgery together. There are discounts for group purchases. His words were met with a lot of eye rolls. Li Pai was very satisfied with the armed prosthesis on his legs, and he began to test his mechanical left arm. His left hand can perform various difficult movements, and the joints can even bend 180 degrees. He punched the strength tester and actually hit 3 tons of force, while his right arm could only hit 800 kilograms with a full force punch. In addition, there are many other functions. Li Pai laughed happily. His current strength is much stronger than before, when he had all his limbs intact. Chapter 88 Imperial Military Command Academy. The huge civilian space passenger ship flew at high speed to the capital starfield, Xia Xingchen. There are more than 40 days before the Imperial Military Command Academy will start. This journey will require a month of long distance travel. Although there are still many things to be dealt with in Changwei 2, Xia Xingchen still decided to set off in advance, and other things were left to Father Free and Haji to deal with. Yugo originally wanted to go with Xia Xingchen, but he is going to military school now, and it is too conspicuous to bring an alien servant. And now the Yazi organization is in need of people, so he was left to Father Free to take care of him. When Polo underwent the second and third stage operations, the others were not idle. Li Pai fought with Yugo in the training ground every day, and while he was recovering, he helped Yugo familiarize himself with human martial arts and combat experience. Haji and Father Free went to purchase various equipment for the new secret base. Because interstellar voyages are long and boring, there are many entertainment facilities on this large passenger ship, such as casinos, libraries, cinemas, and gyms. Countless men and women are looking for excitement on the lonely road. Xia Xingchen doesn't like this so-called socializing. He is just 17 years old now. Before he was 15, he was just a miner who struggled to survive every day. In the past year or so, he has been living a busy and fulfilling life in the quicksand base. He prepared a lot of mecha technical information, which are the latest technological trends collected on Changwei 2 during this period. These days, he spends every day reading, meditating, and doing high-intensity training in the gym. Although Colonel Bercy has become a vegetable and can no longer supervise him, but Xia Xingchen still insists on training every day according to the training plan that Bercy left for him. Finally, the spacecraft docked at a huge space station. The size of this space station is almost comparable to Changwei 2. It was originally used as a port for spacecraft to take off and land to and from Xia Xingchen. Xia Xingchen has been the capital of the Galactic Empire for nearly 1,000 years since its founding. Over the past few thousand years, this space station has undergone countless renovations and expansions and finally has today's scale. Outside the space station are densely packed space docks and a huge space orbital ring. Countless spaceships and space battleships come and go, a busy scene. In ancient times, there was a powerful country on Earth, the birthplace of mankind. In order to facilitate transportation, this country dug a huge canal that stretched for thousands of kilometers. According to this illusion, this space station was named Canal Space Station. Through the observation deck of the Canal Space Station, you can see a blue planet not far away, with white clouds floating on the blue sphere. She is so beautiful, breathtaking. In order to protect the natural environment of Xia Xingchen, it did not build a near-Earth satellite orbit ring and elevator. To get to Xia Xingchen, you can only rely on a space shuttle. Since Xia Xingchen is the political center of the entire Galactic Empire and the seat of the royal family, it is a very troublesome thing to go to Xia Xingchen. Various certificates must be processed at the space station and undergo strict inspections. Although he is a soldier and has a letter of recommendation from the 3rd Fleet, he waited for 2 days before getting permission to land. After walking out of the huge passenger station of Xia Xingchen, Xia Xingchen boarded the anti-gravity magnetic levitation bus to the military zone. Xia Xingchen is 60% covered by seawater. The entire huge planet is divided into several continents that are not far from each other. He is now on this largest continent. This continent is divided into 4 parts: the royal area, the military area, the commercial area, and the residential area. The Imperial Military Academy, where he is going to study, is located in the military area. The entire military area is also divided into 4 parts. They are the Imperial Military Department, the Imperial Military Command Academy, the Galactic Empire Royal Military Academy, and the Martial Arts Field. Among them, the Imperial Military Department is next to the Royal Area, which is the center of the Imperial Military Command. The Galactic Empire Royal Military Academy is a military academy that has been established since the establishment of the Galactic Empire. It has a history of thousands of years and has more than 200,000 students. Over the years, it has trained tens of millions of military command talents for the Empire. A huge statue of the founding Emperor Qin stands on the campus. This is a landmark building in the school. The main enrollment targets of the Royal Military Academy are children from the royal family, nobles, military and government ministers who are determined to become soldiers. Later, many officers with military merits also got the opportunity to enter the Royal Military Academy for further study. Later, Emperor Qin, who had accomplished the great feat of unifying the Galaxy Empire, once inspected the Royal Military Academy and found that many royal and noble children were arrogant and domineering in the academy, showing off their privileges, disrespecting their teachers, undermining military discipline, forming gangs, and making the entire Royal Military Academy a mess. Emperor Qin was furious. He knew that such a military academy would have no fighting power if it trained such students. In order to rectify military discipline and academic style, hundreds of leaders and teachers in the school were executed, tens of thousands of students were expelled, and more than a dozen families who attempted to get their hands on the military academy were confiscated and exterminated. In order to put some pressure on the Royal Military Academy, Emperor Qin took the lead and established the Imperial Military Command Academy not far from the Royal Military Academy. Its enrollment target is mainly for the civilian class and grassroots troops. Excellent soldiers are selected from them through examinations and recommendations from the troops. It shares most of the teachers and instructors with the Royal Military Academy, and the enrollment scale of the two schools is comparable. After graduation, the students of the two schools must undergo rigorous examinations by the royal family before they can be assigned to the army at all levels. In order to commemorate the founder of the academy, a statue of Emperor Qin standing on the shoulder of Mecha and looking into the distance stands at the entrance of the Imperial Military Command Academy. Standing in front of this statue and looking up at it, a sense of pride arises spontaneously. 2 years ago, Xia Xingchen was just a minor, and finally, his wish came true. Now, he is standing in the highest military academy in the empire. He clenched his fists. Freya, wait for me, the day of revenge for you is not far away. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 89 Those Roommates. After reporting to the Academic Affairs Office, submitting a letter of recommendation, and passing a series of identity confirmations and reviews, the school provided Xia Xingchen with a campus card and updated his personal terminal. Following the prompts on the terminal, he came to dormitory 901,524. There are more than 300,000 faculty and students at the Imperial Military Command Academy, with hundreds of skyscrapers as dormitories. His dormitory number means dormitory building number 90, dormitory number 24 on the 15th floor. After swiping the campus card on the door opened. This is a duplex room with 2 floors. After entering the door, the first floor is a living room, a dining room, a kitchen, a study, and an equipment room. From the stairs on both sides of the living room, you can go to the second floor, which is for single dormitories with separate bathrooms. At this time, there are already 3 people in military uniforms in the living room, sitting around on the sofa and chatting. They are Xia Xingchen's roommates. These 3 people came to report a few days ago, and are now very familiar with each other. At this time, they are discussing what kind of person this last roommate will be. Seeing Xia Xingchen coming in, the 3 of them gathered around him enthusiastically, helped him with his luggage, led him to the room, and took him to familiarize himself with the facilities in the room. After a flurry of activity, the 4 of them came to the sofa again, and began to introduce themselves to each other. Hello, my name is Lee Xiaomin. I'm from Chang'an Star. I'm 18 years old this year. My family has been running a mecha repair factory for generations. There are many children in the family, and most of them have taken exams for mecha repair and mecha design majors. My grandfather said that the whole family can't be mecha repairmen, so he forced me to take the Battle Command Department exam. But I still like to design mechas. A boy with black hair, black eyes, thick lips and a gentle manner said. He wore a pair of black-rimmed glasses, and the rank of the recruit was on the shoulder straps of his military uniform. With the medical level of this era, myopia and presbyopia are no longer considered diseases, and they can be easily solved in minutes. Nowadays, glasses generally have the functions of microscopy, night vision and connecting to Skynet to view data at any time. Hello, my name is Hans Grandit. I'm 16 years old, and I'm from Europa in the Eastern Administrative Region. My family has been doing business for generations. Unfortunately, my mother is a concubine and I'm excluded at home. My father didn't want me to take over the family business. He was afraid that I would compete with the sons of the first wife for the family property, so he sent my brothers to business school and asked me to go to military school. He also said that businessmen have no status and expected me to bring honor to the family. Alas, what a lie. A tall, slightly fat man with golden hair and light freckles on his face said, "The Grandit family has a long history, and the people in their family have amazing talents in business. Or they have a keen sense of smell for making money." Thousands of years ago, the story of a famous ancestor of their family was written into a novel by a writer. Since then, the surname Grandit has become synonymous with misers for a long time. He is also a new soldier. Hello, my name is Dayren. I'm 19 years old, a native of Xia Star. My family is a soldier and a government official. I used to serve in the Internal Affairs Force of Xia Star. The last roommate said, "This is a tall, slightly thin man, with a very pale face, very delicate, like a girl, but his eyes give people a very sharp feeling. The whole person's temperament feels very gloomy. His shoulder badge is actually the same as Xia Xingchen's, also a lieutenant." Hello, I'm Xia Xingchen, a Manistar, 17 years old this year. My father is an ordinary worker. I serve in the Watchstar Quicksand Base in the Western Star region, a mecha division. I'm very happy to meet you. Xia Xingchen was very happy. He had a good first impression of these roommates. Wow, Xingchen, you are only 17 years old, and you are already a lieutenant. You must have made great achievements in the war, right? Asked the fat boy Hans. Hey, I'm just a soldier. I'm just lucky. Look at Dayren. Isn't he also a lieutenant? Xia Xingchen said modestly. Dayren was looking for something on his personal terminal. When he heard what Xia Xingchen said, he raised his head, forced a smile, and said, "My military rank is not simple. It is mainly due to the care of my family." Xingchen, you are not simple, so don't be modest. You see, Xingchen joined the army at the age of 15 and has destroyed 68 mechas so far, and he is still a D-class mecha master. Such a record is beyond the reach of even the children of those so-called ace mecha master families. Xia Xingchen was a little surprised that Dayren knew his situation so well. Haha, Xingchen, don't be surprised. Dayren used to be in the Internal Affairs Force, mainly responsible for intelligence work, and he is also a computer hacker. It's not surprising that he can see your file. You are a mecha master. You have to give me more advice when I design mechas in the future. Li Xiaomin explained to him. No problem. It seems that there are hidden dragons and crouching tigers in our dormitory. Xia Xingchen suddenly realized it after listening to Li Xiaomin's introduction. At this time, Dayren looked at Xia Xingchen's file, but his heart was surging. 2 years ago, Xia Xingchen was just a minor, and he had never even touched a mecha. Miraculously, he became a lieutenant and passed the D-class mecha master exam. What kind of adventure could allow him to do this? In addition, a large part of his file was marked as confidential. Only people with very high levels have the authority to view it. It seems that this roommate is also a person with a story. Thinking of this, Dayren smiled. He just wanted to keep a low profile, so he didn't go to the Royal Military Academy. But when he came to the Imperial Military Command Academy, he found that none of his roommates were easy to deal with. It seems that life in the future will be very interesting. Chapter 90. Every family has its own problems. That night, Dai Ren called his father Dai Cheng through a secret communication channel. Their family was all in the intelligence business. Dai Ren's grandfather Dai Yunfei was the Minister of the Interior of the Galaxy Empire. His father Dai Cheng was the Minister of the Imperial Military Intelligence Department, and his uncle Dai Shi was the head of the secret police of the Imperial Interior Department. What's wrong, Renna? Dai Cheng asked. Father, I have a new roommate today. I want to check his background, but I found that his file has a lot of hidden content, and the confidentiality level is very high. I don't have enough authority, so I would like to ask you to help me take a look. Of course, if you think the confidential content is not suitable for me to know, then forget it. I understand the rules. Dai Ren said. Oh, is there such a thing? Wait a minute. Not long after, an encrypted data packet came from the communicator. Take a look for yourself. Your roommate is not simple. He has caused great trouble to our old friend in the north, and there is a blood feud between them. The Fox von Crouch also has a very high opinion of him. You should get along well with him. You have a common goal. Dai Cheng said kindly. Thank you, father. In addition, you must quickly establish an intelligence network within the Imperial Military Academy. I suspect that Nicholas has already begun to infiltrate the military academy system. Yes, father. Dai Ren replied respectfully. Renna, this is your last mission. I know it is cruel for you. Although your grandmother is the aunt of the current Emperor Qinzheng, and His Majesty the Emperor has great trust in our family. However, no matter in which dynasty, it is a very taboo for a family like ours to control the internal affairs and intelligence departments of the empire. Although His Majesty the Emperor has designated me to take over your grandfather's job and your uncle to take over my job in a few years, your grandfather insisted on making a decision. Our family will completely give up intelligence work from your generation. Only in this way can we dispel the suspicion of the royal family, especially the suspicion of several princes towards us. I hope you can understand. Dai Cheng said with guilt. Father, this is the third time you have told me this. I can understand. The suspicion of the emperor is the biggest crisis of a family. Good son, come on. He cut off the communication. Li Xiaomin tossed and turned in bed, and he remembered what his father said to him when he was in the military academy. Xiaomin, the rise of our Tang dynasty group is inseparable from the support of the imperial military. Our Li family has produced many senior military generals in history. In recent years, although the Li family has developed very rapidly, there have been no military generals for many generations. Now our competitors, Northern Heavy Industries, Europa Military Industrial Group, Boeing Consortium and General Military Industrial Group are eyeing us covetously. Especially in a few years, the war will start. This is an opportunity for all emerging arms groups to rise, and it is also a test of the survival of old arms groups. This is both an opportunity and a challenge for our Tang dynasty group. There are 3 boys in our family. Your eldest brother is good at business, and your second brother is a design genius. Although you are not bad, but our family must have someone stand up and go to the military to develop, so that the Tang dynasty group and the family can have a better way out. Yes, father, I will go to military school, Li Xiaomin replied. Although he has made plans to sacrifice himself for the family, Li Xiaomin still does not want to give up his hobby of mecha design. Maybe he can use his spare time to design mecha. With the help of an experienced mecha master like Xia Xingchen, he believed that he could design a better mecha than his second brother. Hans' granddad couldn't sleep either. He thought about everything that happened at home, and he was calculating how to make money in his mind at a high speed. Hans's father, old granddad, married 8 wives. He bought a noble title with money, so this was legally allowed. Hans's mother was just a concubine, and she only had Hans as her son. However, Hans inherited the excellent money-making gene of the granddad family since he was a child. In order to cultivate his children's business awareness, old granddad let them participate in some family businesses when they were very young. As a result, Hans' performance was the best. However, in such a big family, his excellence made many people feel uneasy. Especially old granddad's wife. In order for her 7 sons to inherit the huge family industry, she used various means to attack and exclude Hans and disturb the whole family. Hans remembered the night half a year ago when old Grandad looked haggard and talked to him. Hans, you know the woman in our eldest wife's house. She has a strong desire for control and possession. For my little fortune, she will suppress you by any means. I don't want to see this family fall apart. Hans, you are a capable and good child. No matter where you go, you will achieve something, as long as you have the opportunity. So, in order to protect you, you should leave the family and develop freely. If possible, go to military school. If you have a promising future, you can help the family when the family is in trouble. As he said, he took out a card and handed it to Hans. This bearer card is the private money I have saved for many years, a total of 2 billion star coins. You take it as startup capital. Every penny you earn in the future will be yours, and no one can touch it. Take care, father. He took the card calmly and bowed deeply. Hans knew that this day would come sooner or later. He took all his personal belongings, said goodbye to his mother, and left the house. Xia Xingchen also did not meditate for the first time, and he was also planning his future path. Now his military merits are enough. A few months ago, he used his military merits to apply for imperial citizenship for his father and Li Quan and his wife, and they were approved. They are now living well on Lubenstar. His purpose of joining the army has been achieved. Originally, he could apply for retirement after serving for 10 years and start a new life. But now he must avenge Freya and his comrades in the quicksand base. Moreover, the crystal pyramid in his mind seems to contain a huge secret. Only by becoming stronger can he unlock this secret. Imperial Military Command Academy, a new life, here I come. Chapter 91, Discussion. At 3:50 in the morning, Xia Xingchen was naturally awakened by his biological clock. He got dressed, opened the automatic door of his room, and went to the living room. He found Li Xiaoman drawing something on the electronic blackboard in the study. The sound of Xia Xingchen coming downstairs startled him. "Hi, Xingchen, so early," he greeted enthusiastically. "I'm used to it in the army. I'm going to train. What are you doing?" Xia Xingchen was very curious. "Hi, I dreamed of a design plan when I was sleeping, so I got up quickly to draw it, for fear that the inspiration would run away by then," Li Xiaoman explained. "Then you continue to be busy. I won't disturb you." The two nodded in greeting. Xia Xingchen came downstairs and found that the nearest playground was 3 kilometers away according to the reminder of his personal terminal. He ran to the playground at high speed. At this time, it was dawn, and there were only 3 or 4 people on the playground. Xia Xingchen didn't care so much and ran around the playground. His training method also attracted the attention of people around him. He now has increased his daily running training to 40 kilometers. These days, he can only run on the treadmill on the spaceship, which makes him feel suffocated. More than 2 hours passed, and it was already bright. He stood at the edge of the playground, trying to adjust his breathing. At this time, a figure ran in front of him and said breathlessly, "Xingchen, how long have you been here? I saw you running when I came here an hour ago. You are in great physical condition." Xia Xingchen turned his head to see that it was Dayren. "I'm used to running like this every day," Xingchen replied. "Are you also a warrior?" Dayren asked curiously. Except for those very famous mecha divisions and senior military generals, the level of military strength cannot be reflected in the files. He trained with our captain for a few months. Unfortunately, he became a vegetable in a battle. I don't know if he can recover. Xia Xingchen's eyes dimmed. "Oh, sorry, I reminded you of your sad story." Dayren apologized. "Dayren, are you a warrior? Do you know martial arts?" "It's a set of kung fu passed down from my family, which is not good enough to be used on the stage." Most members of Dayren's family are intelligence agents and have fought on the front lines for many years. Their family has a set of family kung fu that can allow practitioners to instantly burst out with double speed and strength in battle. The only disadvantage is that it consumes too much physical energy, so he comes to morning exercises every morning to enhance his physical fitness and endurance. "Let's fight. I haven't fought with anyone for a long time." Xia Xingchen's eyes lit up. "This is not appropriate. Xingchen, the martial arts in our family are all killing moves, which are not suitable for sparring." Dayren refused. It's okay. I practice the kung fu of being beaten. Let's stop when it's over. Even if you beat me up, it's because I'm not good at learning. It has nothing to do with you. Besides, martial arts will improve fastest in actual combat. Xia Xingchen's eyes were full of expectations. Ren was also a little moved, and he also wanted to see the true strength of this new roommate. The two saluted each other in the middle of the playground, and then took up their positions. Ren suddenly moved. Their family's martial arts believed in the principle of striking first, which meant taking the initiative. He did not use any secret skills, but only some ordinary moves. His movements were steady, accurate, ruthless, and tricky. After a feint, he quietly kicked Xia Xingchen's vitals. Xia Xingchen dodged it easily. Ren found that Xia Xingchen's ability to dodge attacks was very good. No matter what tricky and vicious moves he used, this guy could dodge and resolve them in a very effective way, and occasionally use a few moves that could not be seen from the school to counterattack. Even if he was hit, it was just like tickling for Xia Xingchen. What Ren didn't know was that this was the result of Xia Xingchen being beaten for 3 months. The two fought back and forth for 3 or 4 minutes, and a group of onlookers gathered around. Ren saw that normal moves could not pose any threat to him, and Xia Xingchen was getting more and more excited. He decided to fight. Ren activated the family secrets in his body, and his speed increased instantly. Xia Xingchen felt that he was surrounded by danger, and began to be exhausted. At this time, 4 young men in military uniforms suddenly rushed over from the sidelines. They looked like students, and wore strange armbands on their arms. They shouted stop, and then one of them suddenly rushed between the two of them, punching them from the left and right. Ren dodged and kicked the man in the crotch. Xia Xingchen blocked the man's fist with his fists, rushed forward, and punched the man in the chest with his fists. Xia Xingchen's fist was still a little faster, hitting the man's chest. He showed mercy and only knocked the man back and flew out. With a legendary Ping Shuloan style, he sat on the ground with his buttocks, but this also allowed him to avoid the fate of having his testicles kicked. At this time, the 3 people who came with that person took out electric shotguns from their waists and pointed them at the 2 people. You 2 squat down with your hands on your heads. Fighting is prohibited in the school. You have violated the school rules and beat the members of the discipline department. You just wait to be dealt with. If you resist stubbornly, you will be expelled, said a member of the discipline department. The so-called discipline department is a student self-governing organization established under the leadership of the school's academic affairs office. Its main function is to maintain discipline in the school. They must stop violations of school rules, fighting and brawling, and obtain evidence to report to the academic affairs office so that students can be punished. They are all equipped with stun guns and even mechas, and they have great power in the school. We are just sparring, understand? It's not a fight, Xia Xingchen explained. If our discipline department determines that you are fighting, then it is a fight. Don't quibble. Besides, you can go to the martial arts field or training hall for sparring. The member of the discipline department who was knocked down got up and said arrogantly, "This man is in his early 20s and has the rank of 2nd lieutenant. The school rules don't say that we can't fight on the playground. You said we fought, so you have to show evidence." Ren said, "My words are the evidence. There is solid evidence that you fought and attacked members of the discipline department. So many people are watching, and we can also retrieve the surveillance video of the Skynet system. I advise you to surrender," the boy said with a sinister smile. Ren and Xia Xingchen were very unwilling. This was a completely unprovoked disaster and a frame-up. If they were taken away like this, they would definitely not end well. However, if they continued to fight, the matter would get bigger and bigger. The two were very conflicted. "I think your discipline department should be rectified. They are just sparring, and although their moves are fierce, they are all within the controllable range. Both sides are holding back, and you bunch of rubbish can't even see that. And you dare to interfere when others are fighting, even though you are not as skilled as them. This is a taboo. If this young man hadn't shown mercy, you would have died long ago. Why do you still want to call a black cat a white cat and frame someone? Do you want me to go to the academic affairs office with you to see if that bastard Kinsu believes you or me?" The speaker was an old man in his 80s, with long hair and beard, but not completely white. His back was straight, his temples were bulging high, and his eyes were bright and energetic. He was obviously a martial artist. When the members of the discipline department saw him, they all shrank their necks. Major General Qin Su, the director of the Academic Affairs Office of the Imperial Military Command Academy, was a member of the royal family and an A-level mecha master. He had a respected status in the school, and there was only one person in the school who dared to call him a bastard, and that was the old man in front of him, Qin Ren. This Qin Ren is no simple man. He is also a member of the royal family. The three brothers in his lineage are all powerful warriors. The eldest, Qin Xianchi, is the chief martial arts instructor of the Imperial Palace. Including 2 emperors of the empire and many princes and grandchildren, they were all taught martial arts by him. The second brother, Qin Dili, is the chief martial arts instructor of the Royal Military Academy across the street. And this Qin Ren, who ranks 3rd, is the chief martial arts instructor of the entire Imperial Military Command Academy. In terms of seniority, the director of the Academic Affairs Office has to respectfully call this old man grandpa. Yes, what you are teaching is that we made a mistake. We will review it when we go back. The 4 people in the Academic Affairs Office were so scared that they turned around and ran away. The crowd of onlookers laughed and dispersed, and only Xia Xingchen and the old man were left in the middle of the playground. Chapter 92, Teaching. The 2 men walked forward, clasped their fists and bowed deeply. Thank you, old man, for your heroic help. May I know your name? Qin Ren smiled and said, it is a duty as warriors to help when we see injustice. I'm Qin Ren, a retired old man. He turned to Dai Ren and asked, boy, are you a descendant of the Dai family in the Ministry of Internal Affairs? I see that your martial arts are from the Dai family. Who is Dai Yunfei to you? The old man has a good eye. I'm Dai Ren, your student. Nice to meet you. Dai Yunfei is my grandfather. Qin Ren nodded and asked Xia Xingchen, you have not practiced martial arts for a long time. You are still in the stage of laying the foundation. I wonder who did you learn martial arts from? I saw that the last move you used, Breaking Strike, reminded me of an old friend. Old man, please understand. I have only practiced martial arts for a few months. I used to be a mecha commander at the Watchstar, the quicksand base. I learned martial arts from Colonel Bessie, the commander of our mecha brigade. Xia Xingchen replied. Oh, it's him. He's already a colonel. 30 years ago, I went to explore the Death Star region, and my spaceship was seriously damaged. I was forced to stay at the Watchstar space station for a month. I saw that this young man was very talented, so I taught him for a month. I think his progress should be quite good now. Qin Ren asked. Old man, Captain Bess's martial arts skills are indeed very high, but unfortunately he was seriously injured in a battle a few months ago, and now he is a vegetable. Thinking of Colonel Bessie, Xia Xingchen was very sad. Oh, what kind of opponent could hurt him like that? Are all the space pirates so powerful now? Qin Ren frowned. Yes. Xia Xingchen was about to say it was Nicholas, but he didn't know the other party's background, and now Nicholas has not publicly rebelled, so some things still need to be kept secret. It was the enemy from the north who did it, and our entire Watchstar garrison fell into a huge trap. Xia Xingchen was vague. Huh, that's it. I said Nicholas was a wolf cub back then, and now it seems to be true. Qin Ren cursed angrily. Boy, strictly speaking, Bessie is also half of my disciple. Now that he can't teach you, how about I continue to teach you? I'm old, and the task of revenge for Bessie is left to you. Qin Ren said. Thank you for teaching me martial arts, old man. Xia Xingchen bowed deeply. And you, Dai's boy, you should practice with me. It will be good for you. Thank you, old man. Dai Ren also bowed deeply. You kid, your body is not good. Your foundation is not solid. You should run another 100 laps. After running, I will teach you a breathing method of internal strength to help you recover, he said to Dai Ren. Dai Ren's face turned even paler when he heard it, but he still nodded. Yes, old man. Then he turned around and continued to run. Boy, Bessie has laid a very good foundation for you. You have made some progress in your internal strength, and your physical strength is also good. You are also agile and fast. However, it is almost the same that you know nothing about martial arts. What you know now are just moves, not martial arts. Next, I will teach you a set of martial arts called 36 tiger moves. Boy, watch carefully. Qin Ren said, straightening his clothes and making a starting move. Xia Xingchen felt that the aura of this old man changed completely in an instant. He was originally like a warm spring breeze, but now he suddenly looked like a tiger coming down the mountain. Xia Xingchen instantly activated the inside skill. Every move of Qin Ren, even how every muscle in his body moved, was deeply ingrained in his mind. When a set of moves was finished, Xia Xingchen had almost remembered them. Boy, practice a few times for me to see. It doesn't matter if you can't remember. Let me see your posture first. Qin Ren ordered. Xia Xingchen nodded, thinking of the martial arts just now, and the muscles on his body began to contract, and a set of identical martial arts routines were performed. Qin Ren looked at it, and his eyes lit up. Not only were the moves exactly the same as his, but even the way of exerting force and the timing of the moves were almost the same. He even vaguely felt a tiger-like momentum surging from Xia Xingchen's body. This momentum is definitely something that can only be exuded after the 36 tiger moves have achieved a small success. I picked up a treasure. This kid is a genius. Qin Ren concluded secretly. Xia Xingchen was completely immersed in his moves. He felt like he had turned into a tiger and fought with wild beasts in the forest. This set of 36 tiger moves is said to be a martial monk on earth in ancient times, that is, a combat type clergyman. He lived alone in the forest for decades, accompanied by tigers all day long, and observed how tigers fought other wild beasts. Later, the monk created this martial art based on the movements of tigers. Practicing this martial art, the strength, speed, and lethality of the warrior will increase exponentially. More importantly, some weak opponents will collapse in the face of this momentum. If it is a life and death struggle, this set of martial arts can also release greater potential of the human body. Xia Xingchen stopped and stood still. Qin Ren applauded. He pointed out several deficiencies to Xia Xingchen. After all, martial arts also involve some tricks such as rhythm, timing, and blood circulation, which are not detectable by the inside skill. Xia Xingchen wrote them down one by one. 2 hours later, he had mastered the 36 tiger styles skillfully, and the only thing he lacked was practical experience. At this time, Dai Ren finished the required number of laps panting. He had run for more than an hour in the morning, fought a fight, and even used the family secrets. He didn't have much physical strength left, and running 100 laps drained all his physical strength. Qin Ren was on the spot to instruct him on how to breathe. Xia Xingchen then realized that the internal energy he learned from Colonel Barisi came from Qin Ren. This set of internal energy is called fetal breathing technique. When practicing, it is like a fetus in the womb, and the blood and nutrients in the body constantly repair, nourish and strengthen the body. It was not until noon that Xia Xingchen completely learned it. The two thanked the old man, said goodbye, and returned to the dormitory. At this time, Li Xiaomin was lying on the table, staring at a drawing on the big screen in front of him. Chapter 93 Ways to Make Money. Xia Xingchen and Dai Ren went back to their rooms to take showers respectively. Dai Ren stayed in the room to practice the fetal breathing technique. He was really exhausted. Xia Xingchen felt that Li Xiaomin was not in a good state, so he also went into the study, sat opposite him, and picked up a few mecha design drawings on the table to look at them. Li Xiaomin was distressed, and suddenly saw Xia Xingchen looking at the drawings. His eyes lit up and asked, "Xingchen, can you understand the mecha design drawings?" He was very surprised. If you haven't learned the mecha design drawings, even an old mecha master who has been driving mechas for decades will find it difficult to understand, especially this kind of original design drawings with various parameters and materials marked. Ah, yes. Xia Xingchen replied without raising his head. I was also a mecha maintenance technician in the army. When I first joined the army, I was in the mecha maintenance department of the logistics department. Great. Li Xiaomin jumped up. Finally, someone could speak the same language with him. For a technical geek, it was such a painful thing to face a bunch of technical idiots all day long. Li Xiaomin ran back to his room, took out a bunch of mecha design drawings and mecha accessories design drawings, and handed them to Xia Xingchen. "Xingchen, can you help me take a look? These are my design drawings, and these are my second brother's design drawings. There are design parameter requirements on them. Obviously, my design is more clever, but the old people in the family are biased and say that his design is better than mine. I don't accept it. Can you help me judge it? Xia Xingchen picked up the design drawing and looked at it without saying a word. More than 2 hours passed. In Li Xiaomin's anxious eyes, Xia Xingchen spoke. Xiaomin, if we only look at the cleverness of the design ideas, your design is indeed better. Li Xiaomin listened and immediately became proud. But these 2 words were like a heavy hammer, hammering on his high head. But your design plan is too out of touch with production, practice and actual application. If Tang Dynasty Group uses your design and its products, it will be close to bankruptcy. What do you mean? Li Xiaomin showed an expression of disbelief. Look at this device. This is your design, and this is your brother's design. Indeed, your design is better, and has much better performance than your brother's design. However, although your brother's design is simple, it fully meets the parameter requirements and the cost is very low. Do you know how expensive this material is for your design? Using it will increase the cost of the entire mecha by 30%. In addition, for this mecha, you integrated these accessories into an integrated design, which saves a lot of space. You think you can install 2 more sets of batteries to increase the endurance of the mecha. It looks good, but many of these accessories are consumables or even consumables. According to the original design, no matter which one is damaged, our maintenance personnel only need to remove 1 or 2 armor plates to replace the components. With your design, we have to remove the battery pack first, then the cockpit, and then the engine. My god, on the battlefield, time is money. Your design has prolonged the maintenance time and increased the workload by hundreds of times. Also, according to your brother's idea, if the accessories are broken, you only need to replace 1 or 2 components. According to your design, you have to replace the entire assembly, and the maintenance cost has increased by dozens of times. So, compared with your brother's design, it is not an exaggeration to call your design garbage. Because you have been talking about it on paper and never consider the actual feelings of the users. Xia Xingchen said his answer in one breath. Li Xiaomin was completely stunned, and the drawings in his hand fell to the ground. He has never seriously considered these issues. He lives in a super rich family and has been exposed to the most advanced mecha since he was a child. The private mecha that others regard as treasures is just a toy for him. In his mind, all kinds of exquisite design ideas and various excellent materials are the soul of the mecha. However, Xia Xingchen's words today are like enlightenment, which completely woke him up. In the afternoon, Xia Xingchen went to the supermarket of the military command college and bought some food. In the evening, he made a sumptuous dinner, which was praised by several roommates. Several people chatted while eating. Hans, didn't you go to investigate business opportunities today? How was it? Dayren asked. Yes, I went to investigate, but the situation is not optimistic. There are a few ways to make money, but they either violate school rules or the conditions do not allow it. There are also industries that make too little money and involve too much energy. It's not worth doing it at all. Grandad was a little uninterested. Oh, tell me, maybe we can help. Xia Xingchen said. You know, we have 2 military academies here, especially the Royal Military Academy across the street. There are almost no students who don't play with private mechas. There is a commercial street between the 2 military academies. There are more than a dozen mecha repair and modification shops on this commercial street. Almost every shop is busy. Even so, many students have to queue up to repair and modify mechas. Now there is an opportunity. A mecha repair shop took a job, but it took 2 months and wasted tens of millions of mecha owners. The owner of the mecha was said to be the son of minister and came to make trouble every day. The owner couldn't run the business anymore and wanted to sell the shop. He planned to sell it for 80 million star coins. I calculated that his shop normally has an annual income of 60 to 80 million star coins. If you want to buy such a shop, it will cost about 200 million star coins. Hans said. It's a good opportunity. Why don't you buy it? Xia Xingchen asked. There are 2 problems here, which are actually the same problem. We don't have a senior mecha maintenance technician. Now it costs at least 50 million star coins a year to hire a senior mecha maintenance technician. After deducting other people's salaries and various expenses, there is almost nothing left. The other mecha maintenance shops on this commercial street are basically all owned by senior mecha maintenance technicians or their relatives. And the most serious problem is that the owner said that if you want to take over his shop, you must also take over the troublesome mecha. And I asked someone and found that all the senior mecha maintenance technicians on the street have seen that mecha and can't solve it at all. Grandad sighed. Hans, if I can reach the level of a senior mecha maintenance technician and get a senior mecha maintenance technician license, how about we start this business together? After Xia Xingchen finished speaking, everyone's eyes lit up. He said this after careful consideration. Xia Xingchen's monthly allowance is 100,000 star coins, which is not enough to do routine maintenance for the mecha, not to mention that he has to remit half of his income to his family every month to let his father live a better life. In the past year at the quicksand base, all the money he used for his mecha was paid by father free. Although his father loved him very much and didn't feel bad about the money, he still felt embarrassed. Moreover, the Yazi organization has just started and there are many places to spend money. At least he has to earn money for his own equipment. It just so happens that Hans provides such an opportunity for him to use what he has learned. Besides, Xiaomin's family runs a mecha repair and modification factory, and they are very good at mecha design and modification. He can also join, which will not only enhance our technical strength, but also give him many practical opportunities. Li Xiaomin's eyes lit up, and he nodded frequently. Dairen's family has some connections with the government, which can save us a lot of trouble. Moreover, he is good at collecting intelligence, and can be mainly responsible for helping us collect information about customers and competitors, as well as corporate promotion. Xia Xingchen added. Chapter 94 Senior Mecha Maintenance Technician Examination. Xia Xingchen knew that it was not enough to rely on one person to do something. So, he planned to let several roommates participate, and everyone could make money. As for the problem of the problematic mecha, I think I can give it a try. If I can't solve it, we can also ask Xiaomin's family to send a few experts to help. Okay, it's settled. I will provide the startup capital, and I will be responsible for the business operations. Xingchen and Xiaomin will be responsible for technology, and Dairen will be responsible for publicity and intelligence gathering. How about it? Han said excitedly. No problem. Agree. I agree too. The four of them quickly reached a consensus. Now time is very tight. There are only 6 days before school starts. Xia Xingchen needs 2 or 3 days to take the senior mecha maintenance technician exam. Time is really running out. Everyone will act separately and try to settle this matter before school starts. The next day, Xia Xingchen, accompanied by 3 roommates, came to the examination center of the Imperial Military Command Academy. The Galactic Empire has 4 levels for mecha maintenance technicians. Primary Mecha Maintenance Technician, Intermediate Mecha Maintenance Technician, Senior Mecha Maintenance Technician and Special Mecha Maintenance Technician. Among them, the first 3 levels of Mecha Repairman have an opportunity to take the level test once a year. There is a Mecha Repairman level test center on the main star of each administrative district. The Mecha Repairman level test center of Xianyuan Star is set up in the Military Command College of the Galaxy Empire. This is to make it easier for a large number of mecha repairmen in the military system to take the test. The level test for special mecha repair technicians is much stricter. First of all, the repairman must become a senior mecha repair technician for at least 5 years, and then he will have the opportunity to go to the test center of the Mecha Repair Industry Association located on Lubenstar, which is the only test site for special mecha repair technicians. Applicants must pass the unanimous review of 5 special mecha repairmen to get the qualification of special repairman. Since there are very few special repairmen and most of them are very busy, it is not easy to get them together, so the test for special mecha repair technicians is once every 5 years. Xia Xingchen submitted his personal information at the registration office and paid a registration fee of 500,000 star coins. A staff member rolled his eyes at him. Young man, you have never taken the maintenance technician level test. I suggest you take the junior or intermediate certificate first. At least you can make a living and the registration fee is low. If you take the advanced level directly, it will be easy, but the money will be wasted, and you have to wait for another year to take the test again. The staff did not believe that the 17-year-old boy had such strength. I have decided to take the advanced level. I have the confidence to do so, Xia Xingchen said firmly. The man listened and said nothing more. Xia Xingchen smiled bitterly to his roommates next to him. This examination center is really profitable. My savings for half a year are gone just like that. Han's granddad patted him on the shoulder. Xingchen, don't worry. As long as you pass the exam, the registration fee will be reimbursed by the company. His calculations were clacking. It would cost at least 50 million to hire a senior mecha maintenance technician. The senior mecha maintenance technician exam is divided into the following steps. The first step is a written test. The maintenance technicians who take the exam will fill out a set of mecha maintenance theory test papers on the main control computer. The full score is 100 points. Those who do not reach 95 points in the exam will be eliminated directly. The second step is the practical operation of full maintenance. The examiner will randomly set up various faults on 10 mechas of various models. The mecha maintenance technicians must find or eliminate all the faults within 48 hours. If they exceed the time limit or fail to eliminate all faults, they will be eliminated. The third step is for the maintenance technician to randomly select a mecha. According to the drawings, the maintenance technician must disassemble it into basic components within 12 hours and then assemble it back completely. If they exceed the time limit or fail to complete it, they will be eliminated. Xia Xingchen walked into the examination room with full confidence. The first step is a written test, with mostly theoretical questions, and the exam time is 3 hours. Xia Xingchen just typed hard on the virtual keyboard and handed in the paper in 40 minutes. The main control computer judged that he got full marks. His answer was exactly the same as the textbook, thanks to being forced to memorize by Father Freon Watchster. Then, he started the mecha troubleshooting practice without stopping. He just glanced at the fault description, then climbed into the cockpit, connected the neural control system, and used the inside skill, and the mecha's fault was nowhere to be hidden. Then he skillfully disassembled the mecha like cutting melons and vegetables, and went straight to the lesion. It only took 3 hours to eliminate the faults of 10 mechas. His amazing performance naturally attracted many examiners to watch. Some people suspected that he cheated, but seeing his skillful movements in disassembling and assembling mechas, many examiners believed that, even if they did it themselves, they could not achieve such a level. Seeing that it was still early, Xia Xingchen decided to start the third exam directly. As a result, he drew a diagonal mecha. Perhaps because of the scene, seeing it was like seeing Nicholas, Xia Xingchen rushed over without even looking at the drawings, and the inside skill was fully turned on. He saw his arms flying up and down, and it took only 48 minutes to dismantle a diagonal into pieces. A bunch of examiners saw their jaws drop. Then, he spent another 110 minutes to reassemble the diagonal. An examiner connected the testing equipment, and the screen showed all systems are normal. Chapter 95 Bargaining. Xingchen, you are amazing. I have great respect for you. Han's granddad shouted. Yes, I have seen so many senior mecha maintenance technicians, and almost no one can do it. It is simply a magical skill. Li Xiaomin also praised. He is an expert in this field. It seems that our business has great potential. Dai Ren showed a rare smile. Xia Xingchen couldn't close his mouth holding this red card and a certificate. Like the D-level mecha technician level test, the senior mecha maintenance technician examination is also divided into 4 levels, S, A, B, and C, which will be marked in the file and certificate. A senior maintenance technician with an S score will also cause a rush, and Xia Xingchen's certificate has a conspicuous S printed on it. That night, Han took Dai Ren and the two went directly to the commercial street to negotiate with the owner of the maintenance shop. Mr. Hans, you see, I regret the price of 80 million now. It is too low. You know, several people came to me today to discuss the transfer of the store. The shop owner Huss's eyes flashed with a thief. Mr. Huss, as far as I know, your store was blocked by a group of hooligans today. Not even a mouse came in, let alone someone came to talk business with you. Dai Ren sneered. The person you offended is the youngest son of the most beloved person of the Vice Minister of Finance Tang Jin, and this Lord Tang Jin is in charge of all business approvals within the empire. If this matter is not settled, even if you throw the store away, no matter where you run to in the Milky Way, you can't open a store again. Shop owner Hus was stunned. His bottom was known. And you cheated that second generation ancestor of more than 60 million star coins, and he refused to reconcile. If we want to solve this problem, we have to ask experts to help. Senior mecha repairmen are not qualified at all. We even have to hire special mecha repairmen at a high price. The cost will not be less than 100 million star coins, and it may not be solved. I think you should have inquired about the price, otherwise you would not sell the store. Hans then added fuel to the fire. Hus lowered his head and stopped talking. He was like a man who had been stripped naked standing on the street. He had no secrets in front of the other party. Please look, Mr. Hus, your store has been open for 10 years. In the best years, the income is 80 million star coins per year, and in the bad years, it is only 50 million star coins. You are a senior mecha repairman. It doesn't matter, you make more or less money, and we are just poor students who want to have fun. Based on the annual income of 80 million star coins for this store, we need at least 50 million star coins per year to hire a senior mecha repairman. Add taxes, accessories and operating expenses, and we will be lucky if we don't lose money. If the price is too high, we can't afford it. That's it. 5,000 star coins, including all the equipment and accessories in your store. If you can accept it, we will continue the discussion. If you can't accept it, then forget it. Hus almost vomited blood when he heard it. This price is just the price of a military ranger mecha. The store he had worked hard to run for 10 years. The value of these accessories alone was more than 30 million. No, 75 million. You have to leave me a way out. 55 million, that's sincere enough. 70 million, this is the bottom line, I won't sell it for any lower. Think about those troublesome second generation rich kids. 60 million. I can't get those accessories without 30 or 40 million star coins. I'll give the last step of 65 million. Hus gritted his teeth and said, deal. Hans nodded with satisfaction. The two signed the transfer agreement on the spot. In the evening, several people celebrated in the living room and quickly determined the division of labor and shareholding ratio of each person. Among them, Hans Grandet invested 200 million star coins to purchase shops, accessories and equipment. He was mainly responsible for the operation of the shop, accounting for 40% of the shares. Xia Xingchen invested in technology and was the technical director of the repair shop, accounting for 30% of the shares. Li Xiaomin was mainly responsible for the design of personal mechas and contacting the channels for purchasing accessories. With his connections, there were almost no accessories that could not be obtained, accounting for 20% of the shares, and Aren was mainly responsible for collecting intelligence and smoothing relations, accounting for 10% of the shares. Hans was going to give him 20% of the shares, but he refused. The next day, Aren took the transfer agreement of the mecha repair shop to register. Grandet was busy with decoration and recruitment, and Li Xiaomin went to contact the channels for purchasing accessories. Xia Xingchen helped Hans recruit mecha repair technicians. The two walked into the Hus mecha repair shop. This is a 13-meter high building. The exterior wall of the building is a whole display screen, which scrolls and plays various cool videos of mechas fighting. Walking into the gate, there is a reception hall on the first floor. This is the reception area, with sofas, bars, large screens and other facilities. Through the glass of the reception hall, you can see a huge workshop inside, with 4 mecha maintenance operating tables. On one of the operating tables is a mecha painted in fancy colors. It seems that it is the culprit that caused Boss Hus to sell the mecha repair factory. Continue through the workshop, and there is a lifting 3-dimensional mecha warehouse behind, which can store 4 mechas at the same time. There are 2 floors above the reception hall and the maintenance workshop, which can be used as offices and staff dormitories. On the top of the building is a beautiful rooftop, where you can enjoy the beautiful scenery of Shineyu and Star in the Sun. The underground of the entire building has been hollowed out to serve as a warehouse for mecha accessories. The two people were very satisfied after seeing it. Although the land is not valuable in the space age, it is not enough to build such a building without 50 million star coins. Dayren posted recruitment information on various platforms last night. According to the needs of the business, they want to recruit an intermediate mecha maintenance technician, 2 junior mecha maintenance technicians, and 4 to 8 maintenance technician apprentices. They interviewed more than a dozen intermediate technicians. After all, the 5 million star coins annual salary offered by Hans was too tempting for intermediate mecha repairmen. Now most intermediate mecha repairmen only earn about 2 million star coins a year. In the end, they chose an intermediate mecha repairman named Barry. Barry is in his 40s and comes from Penglai Star region in the distant Eastern Administrative Region. It takes nearly 3 months to fly from there to Xia Star. Barry's son was admitted to the Imperial Military Command Academy's Mecha Maintenance Design major this year. The old couple didn't want to be too far away from their son, so they sold their house and came to Xia Star with their son. Barry's intermediate mecha repairman certificate was rated A. He has good skills, rich theoretical knowledge, and is eloquent and clear in narration. Xia Xingchen was very satisfied. After discussing with Hans, he decided to hire him as the supervisor of the maintenance workshop and take on the work of receiving customers. After all, mecha maintenance is also a very professional job. Very professional technicians must communicate with users to help them solve problems better. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 96 Sister QIUIUI. They selected 2 junior mecha repairmen who were quick and had solid basic skills, with an annual salary of 500,000 star coins. They will complete mecha maintenance and some of the simplest mecha repair work under the leadership of Barry. Then, Hans recruited 2 waitresses with an annual salary of 200,000. He specially selected 2 young and beautiful girls. The last thing to be recruited was the mecha repairman apprentice. The mecha repair design major of the Imperial Military Command College is very famous. It has very harsh admission conditions for students. Students must pass very strict exams. Within 3 years of enrollment, students must pass the Junior Mecha Repairman exam, otherwise they will be expelled. Then after several years of study, they can get a graduation certificate after passing the Intermediate Mecha Repairman exam. Otherwise, they must continue to study in school with high tuition fees every year, or leave in disgrace. Of course, there are also many people who choose to stay here for further studies after obtaining the intermediate repairman certificate, intending to get the senior repairman qualification in one go. Hans and his team want to recruit those students who have been in school for more than 3 years and have obtained the junior repairman qualification. Students majoring in mecha maintenance design have a relatively easy course. They only have half a day of class every day, and the rest of the time is basically spent on practical operation training in the simulated maintenance workshop. Many students simply come out to work in the mecha maintenance shop to earn some piecework wages, which not only exercises their hands-on ability, but also earns some extra money. After all, their tuition is not low. Soon they selected 6 students. 3 of them had classes in the morning and 3 in the afternoon. In their spare time, including at night, they would come to the store to do some basic work. When the recruitment was coming to an end, a girl suddenly rushed in. The girl was 16 or 17 years old, full of youthful breath, tall figure, and 2 attractive long legs under a pair of shorts. She wore a red belly exposing shirt on her upper body, revealing her soft and slender waist. The 2 of them couldn't help but feel their hearts pounding. "Who is the boss among you?" the woman asked. "I am. What do you want?" Hans calmed down and replied. "You? How old are you?" The woman cast a suspicious look. "What do you want?" Hans looked a little unhappy. "When you recruit maintenance apprentices, do you only look at diplomas and certificates, not the technician's level? Why do you only recruit maintenance apprentices who have been in school for 3 years? Do they have good skills?" The girl said indignantly. "Madam, even if they have certificates, They still have to go through a strict technical assessment by our technician. Hans said seriously. How old is he? Does he have a junior mecha maintenance certificate? Why do you assess others? The woman said disdainfully. Madam, this technician Xia Xingchen is our technical director and a senior mecha maintenance technician. Hans looked serious. Don't be funny. Senior mecha maintenance technician? The youngest senior mecha maintenance technician in the entire Tang Dynasty group is only 28 years old. This gentleman, he is 18 years old? The girl said jokingly. Xia Xingchen took out a red card and handed it to her. This is my ID. The woman took the ID and took a look. Wow, this fake ID is really realistic. As she said that, she used her personal terminal to scan the smart chip on the ID, and the feedback shocked her. The young man in front of him was a genuine senior mecha repairman. Because this intelligent identification chip and the data inside it cannot be faked. I'm sorry, sir, I'm rude. The girl blushed and apologized to Xia Xingchen in a hurry. It doesn't matter. At my age, there's nothing I can do if others don't believe me, Xia Xingchen said. Beautiful girls are always easily forgiven. I ask you two to give me a chance. My family runs a mecha repair shop. Although I just entered the school, I already have a junior mecha repairman qualification certificate. I really want to find a chance to prove myself. The girl said sincerely. This? Xia Xingchen looked at Hans. Okay, Hans nodded. Such a beautiful girl can inspire the work enthusiasm and healthy competition of male employees. Even if her skills are average, it's more pleasing to the eye to put her in the store. A beautiful maintenance technician is also a selling point and a gimmick. Xia Xingchen asked a lot of questions, and the girl answered them fluently. He increased the difficulty, but it didn't stump the girl. In the practical operation test, although she was slow, she was very careful and methodical. Her theoretical level is comparable to that of a senior technician, and her practical ability is also better than that of an ordinary junior technician, and her work is very clean. She is a good candidate. I suggest keeping her, Xia Xingchen said to Hans. Hans nodded, and the last employee of the repair shop was in place. Then, the two purchased several housekeeping robots and security robots, reset the security system, and the whole store was tidied up. The two were busy all day. At night, several people gathered together again, eating and discussing today's gains. Li Xiaomin contacted the people of Tang Dynasty Group. Tang Dynasty Group has mecha parts centers in various starfields. They dare not neglect the request of the young master. The first batch of commonly used mecha parts has been shipped and will arrive tomorrow. Dayren is responsible for running procedures and applying for licenses. The efficiency of the intelligence department is the highest. All procedures were completed in one day. Then, the fat man Hans introduced today's recruitment situation to everyone and described the situation of each employee in detail. At the end of the introduction, he pretended to be mysterious and said, "Our last employee is an absolute beauty. She is only 17 years old, and that figure, wow, especially that pair of beautiful legs, it makes men want to commit crimes when they see it. I'm telling you, I've decided to pursue her, and you can't compete with me." According to Xingchen, her skills are really good, and her name is nice, Li Qiaoru. Li Xiaomin was drinking soup, and when he heard the name, he sprayed all the soup on Han's face, and he choked and coughed repeatedly. What's wrong? What's going on? Hans granddad was stunned. Cough. Oops. Li Xiaomin choked hard on a mouthful of soup, and Xia Xingchen hurriedly patted his back. Hey, Li Qiaoru is my sister. Everyone understood why he reacted so strongly. Hans touched his head awkwardly. After all, he just said shamelessly that he wanted to pursue someone's sister. Li Xiaomin sat up straight and began to introduce his sister to his roommates. The Li family has a total of 4 children, 3 sons and 1 daughter. This only daughter, who is also the youngest child in the family, is regarded as the apple of the family's eye. Her original name was Li Xiaoru, but her mother thought it was too ugly, so she changed her name to Li Qiaoru. Li Qiaoru has shown extraordinary talent in many aspects since she was a child. She has shown great talent in painting, calligraphy, sculpture, music and other aspects. But later, influenced by her second brother, she became hopelessly fascinated by mecha design. At the age of 14, she began to help people design private customized mechas with the help of her second brother. Although she is not very proficient in technology due to her age, the mechas she designed are full of artistic atmosphere in both interior and exterior, and are deeply loved by the majority of female mecha masters. 2 years later, a private high-end mecha customization brand called QIUIUI was established within the Tang Dynasty group. Li Qiuru is the main designer. At this time, she can design mechas independently without the help of her second brother. Recently, she felt that she had entered a bottleneck period, so she took the initiative to ask to go to the Imperial Military Command Academy to study mecha maintenance for a period of time, recharge, and find some inspiration by the way. When she arrived at the academy, she heard that many classmates in the department went outside the school to find jobs to earn tuition fees, so she was also tempted and wanted to give it a try. However, there was only one mecha repair shop in the commercial street that was hiring, but they set a 3-year enrollment threshold. The fearless Miss Lee got excited and rushed in to argue with Hans. Hans, I don't object to you pursuing my sister, but she has been determined to marry the most powerful mecha designer since she was a child, so I think Xingchen still has some hope. As for you, I suggest you don't waste your time. Li Xiaoming said earnestly. Hans Grandit forced out a smile that was uglier than crying. Chapter 97, Trouble. The next day, all shareholders and employees of the company came to the repair shop. When Li Qiuru saw the livid Xingchen standing in front of her, she stuck out her tongue playfully. Hans gave an enthusiastic speech. Then the whole company began to take action. Counting inventory, receiving accessories, setting charging standards, cleaning employee dormitories. After 2 days of busy work, the 1524 Mecha Club finally opened. None of the 4 people wanted to bother with the name, so they simply used the dormitory number as a store name, which was easy to remember and meaningful. The big screen outside the store repeatedly played the news of the opening of the 1524 Mecha Club, the youngest senior mecha repairman in Xia Star, the beautiful mecha repair designer, the opening discount. These were all gimmicks created by Hans. 2 beautiful receptionists handed out flowers and souvenirs at the door. The door attracted a large number of people to stop and watch, but no one dared to go in, because the reputation of the previous Hus Mecha repair shop had been ruined, and most people were still skeptical about it suddenly opening again, after being closed for a few days. At this time, dozens of hover motorcycles drove in from a distance, and stopped at the door of the store. A young man with colorfully dyed hair and mirrored sunglasses led a group of people with weird clothes and messy tattoos out of the car. They went straight to the repair shop. Seeing Hans and others standing at the door, the young man pointed at them and cursed. Didn't I tell you that, if my mecha is not repaired, don't open my shop? What? My words don't work. Where is that old liar Hus? Let him come out to see me. This man was very arrogant. Hans saw this scene and quickly went to meet him. He knew that the biggest challenge of opening a new shop was coming. Hello, you must be Mr. Tangjin. I'm Hans, the owner of this mecha repair shop. Mr. Hus has sold this shop to me. He may have left now. Hans pretended to smile and said, what? The old guy ran away. You are lying to me. How could the shop be transferred in just a few days? The procedures are not completed. You think I'm a fool, right? Don't you know what my father does? The young man named Tangjin was very angry. Mr. Tangjin, our store has been registered and has legal procedures. You can check it at will. Hans was still smiling. Humph, don't think I'm easy to fool. Tangjin called a number from his personal terminal. Director Kenny, I'm here at the Military Academy Commercial Street. The store that cheated me before has been transferred and changed its name. What's going on? Didn't I tell you not to sell the store to anyone? Check if they have legal procedures. Now this store is called the Shitty 1524 Mecha Club. Director Kenny on the other side of the communicator is the director of the Xia Star Business Administration. Old Tangjin, the deputy finance minister of the empire, is his boss. He has always obeyed the son of this boss. Seeing that this little ancestor was angry, he quickly turned on the computer and started to check the information. When he saw what was on the screen, he was sweating. Master Tang. Young Master Tangjin, the procedures of their store are legal and have been registered. Director Kenny said tremblingly. What? Registered? Have you forgotten what I told you? Don't you want your position anymore? Tang Jin yelled. Please listen to my explanation. Their store is, the information is directly submitted by the Ministry of the Interior. We have no choice. We can't refuse the Ministry of the Interior's request. Director Kenny said with a sad tone, almost crying. Is that so? Upon hearing about the Ministry of the Interior, young Tang Jin calmed down. Although his father was very powerful, he didn't dare to provoke those crazy people in the Ministry of the Interior. If he provoked them, his father's corruption might be implicated, which would be really pitiful. Even if your procedures are legal, but old man Huss cheated me out of 70 or 80 million, and he hasn't repaired my mecha. Now he's gone. I can only come to you. You need to give me an explanation. Tang Jin rolled his eyes and said, of course, when Mr. Huss transferred the shop, he said that he would entrust this mecha to us for repair. We will not forget this. Our senior technician Mr. Xia Xingchen has checked your mecha and can start repairing it immediately. Hans said with a smile. Oh, who is Xia Xingchen? I haven't heard of him. But you'd better pray that you are not bragging. If you can't repair it, you can't open your business. Tang Jin still insisted. Come with me. Let's go repair the mecha now. Xia Xingchen said. Who are you? Tang Jin glanced at Xia Xingchen with his eyes slanted. I'm Xia Xingchen, a senior mecha repairman. What? Are you kidding me? You little kid, you are a senior mecha repairman, then I'm the Minister of Finance of the Empire. Tang Jin jumped up in anger. My certificate is on the wall of the store. You can look at it yourself and scan the number on it. As long as I can help you repair your mecha, that's it. After saying that, he turned and walked towards the workshop. Chapter 98, Divine Skill. Tang Jin's mecha was a high-end custom-made mecha. Later, he was not satisfied with its performance, so he replaced many of its parts with high-end ones. He named this mecha, which was painted in the same colorful colors as his hair, Huahuatesu. This name fits him very well. Then one day, Huahuatesu's mecha suddenly broke down. After starting up and taking just 2 steps, the mecha became paralyzed on one side and fell to the ground frequently, knocking Tang Jin inside out. He sent the mecha to the commercial street for repair. After many shops checked, they found that the detection instruments showed that the system was normal, so they did not dare to repair it. Only Boss Huss was obsessed at the time and agreed to repair it and asked for a huge repair fee. Based on his personal experience, Boss Huss believed that such a fault should be a problem with the operating system or signal transmission, so he replaced the main control computer for the mecha and rewrote the operating system, but the fault was still not eliminated. He was sweating. Later, he considered whether it was a problem with the transmission of command signals, so he replaced the control optical cables of almost the entire body of the mecha, but the problem was still not solved. In the end, the desperate Boss Huss could only ask for help from his peers, but the senior mecha repairman on the entire commercial street had seen this Huahuatesu mecha and could not find a solution. The main problem was that they could not find the cause of the failure. As early as 2 days ago, Xia Xingchen had conducted a comprehensive inspection of the Huahuatesu mecha. He connected the mental power headband and fully activated the inside skill. Suddenly, a very awkward feeling appeared in his mind. His mental power spread throughout the whole body of the mecha, and he quickly found the problem. So he told Hans confidently that it could be repaired. He was about to start the repair when he was stopped by Hans. Don't rush to repair it immediately. Wait until the guy comes to you after the opening, and you can solve it on the spot. This is the best advertisement. The profiteer Hans said proudly. At this time, only Hans and Xiao Tangjin were in the mecha repair workshop. The reception hall was full of people. A lot of people were curious to watch the repair through the transparent glass wall and the display on the wall. At this time, Hans had an idea and immediately found a staff member to connect the large screen outside the store with the monitor in the maintenance workshop, which instantly attracted nearly 1,000 people to watch. Xia Xingchen climbed to the top of the Huahuatesu with a universal mecha maintenance mechanical arm and began to dismantle it. His movements were fast and smooth, and everyone watching, including many colleagues, was stunned. Because this is not a general purpose mecha, but a private mecha with a complex structure. In less than 2 hours, the entire mecha was disassembled into basic components. Not only that, he also disassembled several basic components, and Xia Xingchen pulled out many secret wires from them. Little Tang Jin looked at the pile of broken copper and iron in front of him and was completely speechless. Take your time, this is just the beginning. Hans patted his shoulder. After dealing with these individual basic accessories, Xia Xingchen began to assemble the mecha. His ability to know where the accessories were without even looking for them stunned everyone. 3 hours later, a brand new Huahua Tesu appeared in front of people. However, there were still a bunch of parts and wires left on the ground. Xia Xingchen clapped his hands. Fixed it. You, are you kidding me? There are so many parts that haven't been put back. Who are you fooling? Even an amateur like me knows that repairing things should be done the same way as disassembling them, but you. Little Tang Jin was so angry that his hair stood up and he looked like a parrot that had been electrocuted. Xia Xingchen rushed over, waving the mechanical arm in his left hand. A 3-edged scraper stretched out from the front of the mechanical arm and directly pressed against the tip of Tang Jin's nose. I have tolerated you for a long time today. You will know if I have fixed it or not if you go up and try. If your mouth is so dirty again, I will dig your nose off. Looking at Xia Xingchen's cold eyes, Tang Jin was so scared that he almost wet his pants. The look in his eyes was not the fierce look of the little gangsters like them, but murderous intent, which was honed after countless battles on the battlefield. Hans saw that things were not going well and quickly stepped forward to push Xia Xingchen away, then hugged Tang Jin. Master Tang Jin, don't worry, such masters have tempers, but he is right. You can try it to know whether it is repaired or not. Master Barry, please use the detection equipment to check it. Barry connected the mecha with the detection equipment, and a few minutes later, big green words appeared on all screens. All systems are normal. No way. How can it be normal without so many accessories installed? Is the detection equipment broken? This boss must have cheated. The crowd began to discuss. Mr. Tang Jin, please go up and try it, and you will know. Hans pointed at the mecha and made an invitation. Tang Jin sat in the mecha half believing and half doubting, and closed the cockpit. Barry pressed a few times on the operating table, and the metal door behind the operating table opened. The conveyor belt directly transported Huahua Tsui from the mecha maintenance operating table to the back door of the repair shop. The back door slowly opened, and there was a road in front, leading to the distance. The entire commercial mecha repair shops are on one side of the street. 1 kilometer behind these shops is an open field with a radius of more than 10 kilometers. This is where many civilian mecha enthusiasts play with mechas. After these repair shops have finished repairing, they will also test the machines here. Little Tang Jin entered the operating system, and all the indicator lights lit up, indicating that everything was normal with the mecha. He took a few steps forward carefully. There was no abnormality, so he began to slowly speed up. Huahua Tsui ran faster and faster. Tang Jin felt that his operation had an unprecedented sense of smoothness, and the running speed of the mecha was much faster than before. He stepped on the power pedal. The folding wings behind Huahua Tsui opened, the thrusters were fully turned on, and the mecha flew into the sky. After a few difficult moves, no problems were found, but the reaction speed of the mecha was much faster than before. After dozens of minutes, the energy of the mecha was almost exhausted, and Tang Jin reluctantly landed Huahua Tsui at the back door of the repair shop and drove into the hangar. Chapter 99 A huge success. Tang Jin stepped off the mecha and held Xia Xingchen's hand tightly. Master, little master, my Huahua Tsui has been repaired. It has really been repaired. You are really amazing. I was reckless just now. I would like to express my deepest apologies to you. As he spoke, he bowed deeply to Xia Xingchen. Xia Xingchen nodded. Although this little Tang Jin was arrogant, he still knew some rules, and was not completely hopeless. Master, can you tell me what is wrong with my mecha? Why did so many people fail to check the problem? Also, you removed so many parts, but the performance of the mecha was not affected, but it got better and better. What is going on? Little Tang Jin asked earnestly. Xia Xingchen glanced at Hans, who nodded at him. This was a great opportunity to promote the store. Everything they said was connected to the big speakers outside the store, and all onlookers could hear it. Let me ask you, what is your mental level? Xia Xingchen asked little Tangjin. Master, my mental power level just reached level 20 last year. He answered respectfully. Although it is difficult for ordinary people to improve their mental power level, for Tangjin, the son of an imperial official, who has been using the best meditation instrument since childhood, and can use advanced mental power potions almost unlimitedly, plus his aptitude is not bad. He barely broke through level 20. But it will be difficult for him to make further progress in this life, as his body has developed drug resistance. So you installed mental power sensing devices on most of the mecha's parts, right? Yes, Master, you are right. That's the problem. For ordinary mechas, the main control computer transmits command signals to each part of the mecha through the mecha optical cable, and the mental power mecha directly receives the mental signals from the brain through the mental power sensing devices on the mecha parts. You know this, right? Xia Xingchen asked. Yes. In military mechas, there are command signal distribution devices. The mecha's mental power components give priority to receiving commands issued by mental power, and automatically cut off the signal output of the mecha's optical cable. Your mecha is a modified civilian mecha, and it has no command signal distribution device at all. This will have a serious consequence. For example, you give the mecha a signal to let its left leg step forward 3 meters. The mecha's mental power sensing device receives the signal first, and the mecha raises its leg to respond. Then 1 second later, the mecha's optical cable sends another signal that the left leg should step forward 3 meters. At this time, the mecha's left leg is already in the air, and then it takes another 3 meters on the spot. You'd be surprised if it didn't fall to death. Oh, that's it. Little Tangjin jumped up and clapped his hands. He then asked, what about these parts? Based on the actual situation of your mecha, I removed some of the mecha's optical cables and mental power receiving devices, so that they no longer conflict, and the transmission of command signals has been optimized, so you feel that the mecha is running more smoothly. Xia Xingchen smiled. His smile was so sunny, and this scene was transmitted to the outside through the big screen, charming countless young girls. Master, thank you. From today on, the mechas of my friends and I will be repaired and maintained in your shop. He turned to look at his younger brothers. Did you all hear that? Yes, boss. Most of his younger brothers are also mecha enthusiasts, and their families are either rich or noble. At this time, the other mecha repair shop owners who wanted to see the joke turned green. Although Tangjin and his younger brothers are difficult to serve, they really love mechas, are willing to spend money, and never buy on credit. Losing these high quality customers, their profit loss is not small. Oh, and you will remember this. From now on, Master Xia and Boss Hans and I are good friends and good buddies. If any of you dare to have bad ideas and come to Master Xia's shop to cause trouble, you don't have to open your shop. Tangjin was referring to these shop owners. They had originally thought so. The mecha repair shops on the commercial street were very exclusive. Once a new shop opened, or a shop had a new operator, they would look for some mechas with difficult problems, and pretend to be customers to cause trouble. Many new shops were forced to close down after just a few days of opening for this reason. Tangjin often hung out here, and was very clear about the inside story here, so he gave warnings in advance. Before leaving, Tangjin ignored the two's repeated refusals, and left 20 million star coins for the repair fee. Soon, the news spread throughout the commercial street and the 2 military academies. Many students came with their mechas. The 4 mecha repair stations and the 4 mecha warehouses were instantly filled. In addition, they received dozens of appointments. Li Xiaomin and Li Qiuru also received 2 mecha modification orders each. The 2 of them were busy designing drawings in the office upstairs. Xia Xingchen was busy until closing the store at around 9 o'clock in the evening. From noon to now, he has repaired 13 mechas, all of which were difficult and complicated. And all day, Xia Xingchen's repair process was broadcast live. It was late at night, and the 4 brothers sat in the living room again. After a while, today's turnover was counted, with a total of 28.6 million star coins. Among them, the order from Xiao Tangjin had almost no cost. After deducting various expenses, the total cost was 3.8 million star coins, and the rest was pure profit. Hans transferred the dividends to everyone's account on the spot, and he also gave each employee a big red envelope. Although his last name is Grandit, he is by no means a miser. He knows that money should be earned by everyone. Only in this way can there be a steady stream of money flowing into his pocket. Xingchen, tomorrow's customer flow may be more than 10 times that of today. It is estimated that you will be very busy within a month. Thank you for your hard work. Hans said. Nothing. I really enjoy the feeling of making so much money. After half a year of hard work, I have my own mecha. Xia Xingchen smiled. Xiamin, you brothers and sisters must make a good start in the mecha modification. Hans instructed. No problem. My mom just sent us a document today authorizing us to use the QIUI brand. The only requirement is that I give my sister more money as her pocket money. Li Xiamin said. No problem. Hans answered readily, and then continued, I want to convert the 3-dimensional hangar at the back into a simple mecha maintenance operating table, which will be specially given to apprentices to do daily maintenance on the mecha. Then I will invest another 20 million to expand a 3-dimensional mecha warehouse at the back door that can store 24 mechas, including 1 underground floor and 2 above ground floors. Each floor can park 8 mechas. What do you think? I agree, no problem. Yes, our current scale is indeed too small. Leave the approval procedures to me. Dayren took the initiative to volunteer. After another busy day, the day of school finally arrived. Chapter 100 Opening Ceremony. The large gymnasium in the Imperial Military Command Academy, which can accommodate 50,000 people, was packed with students. Most of the students present were freshmen of this year. The big screen played the lecture of Admiral Qin Zhenglong, the president of the Imperial Military Command Academy. However, the content of the lecture was still the same old saying. What about being loyal to the country, loyal to the empire, observing discipline, studying hard and conscientiously, etc. The students below were drowsy. If it weren't for the students from the Fengji office patrolling everywhere, many of them would have gone to Zhaogong on the spot. Finally, after 2 hours, the old principal ended his long speech. The students were as if they had been pardoned. However, the old principal changed the subject and said to the students, you are a group of very lucky students. Today, a big man will come to give you a speech. Such an opportunity is rare. I hope you can cherish it. The big screen suddenly flashed, and a dignified old man appeared on it. On the shoulder straps of his military uniform, there was a huge silver star and the national emblem of the Galactic Empire. The students in the audience were all shocked. Almost all of them knew the old man in front of them, the commander of the Galactic Empire Army, Marshal von Bismarck. Let me ask you, what is the purpose of your joining the army? The old marshal asked. Be loyal to the empire and defend the galaxy. 50,000 students shouted in unison. Well said. Please remember your promise. The old marshal said firmly. Be loyal to the empire and defend the galaxy, which is the purpose of our Galactic Empire Army. Now, I will tell you the significance of our formulation of such a purpose. Although our Milky Way is very large, it is only a corner of the universe. The Milky Way is a powerful country we have built on the basis of human beings. But there are not only humans in this universe, but also powerful Zerg, various aliens, and powerful enemies that are so powerful that you can't imagine. They seem to be far away from us. But the fact is not like this. Our unified galactic empire has a strong military force, which deters alien forces and keeps them away from our home. So we have such a happy and peaceful life today. However, once our military strength weakens, they will take advantage of the opportunity to enter! Exclamation mark. As he spoke, several videos appeared on the big screen. They were tragic scenes of the Imperial Army fighting against the Zerg and aliens. On the screen, the cockpit of a mecha division was torn open, and the mecha division was dragged out of the cockpit. Several bugs rushed up, and in an instant, flesh and internal organs flew everywhere. In another picture, a mecha flew towards a strangely shaped alien spaceship in the sky. A blue light flashed, and the mechas fell from tens of thousands of meters in the air, and broke into piles of scrap metal. The old marshal's words in these videos caused an uproar in the crowd. In the eyes of most people, the Zerg, aliens and the like are very far away, and the government is also deliberately covering up these things. Today, someone suddenly lifted the lid, and they suffered a huge psychological shock. The old marshal continued, every one of you sitting here is the cornerstone of the army. From now on, the responsibility of defending the Galactic Empire and defending mankind will fall on your shoulders. Are you afraid of death? No. A group of people answered in unison. Have you ever thought about why you are not afraid? When you face a bunch of bugs alone, you will definitely be afraid. I would be afraid too. However, if you have a group of comrades behind you, facing them together with you, you will not be afraid. This is the theme I want to talk to you about, the power of unity. A united and powerful empire is your solid backing. However, today, some people want to rebel because of their ambitions and selfish desires. In order to realize their ambitions, they will trigger a civil war in the Galactic Empire. Boom. The audience was in chaos again. Some of them were shocked by the news that a civil war might break out. Many people were confused about their future. They came to the military academy just to gild themselves so that they could get a better chance of getting a job, but now they are likely to be dragged into the war and they have to think about their lives. Because once they enter the military academy, they are soldiers, and whether they like it or not, they will always have to go to the battlefield. There was also a small group of people with vicious eyes. They were sent by Nicholas, and their purpose was to attract a group of students in the academy to join the Northern Army or even lurk inside the military to prepare for future uprisings. The old marshal's words obviously made many students more vigilant. If a civil war breaks out in the Empire, it may greatly weaken the Empire's military strength, and the surrounding insects and aliens will take advantage of the situation and defeat us one by one. At that time, the entire galaxy will face a catastrophe, and you are cannon fodder. Although it is an honor for a soldier to die on the battlefield, if you die in a civil war, think about whether it is worth it. Now, you may face many temptations. I hope you will think carefully about it. Your choice may make you face your classmates today on the battlefield in the future. You should think carefully about whether it is worth it. The old marshal's words were powerful and thought-provoking. The old marshal's speech was over, but the students' discussion was still going on. Later, some historians pointed out that Marshal von Bismarck's speech was the first time that the Empire expressed its dissatisfaction with Prince Nicholas in public. This was both a warning and a declaration of war. The opening ceremony was over, and the four people returned to the dormitory, sat on the sofa, and recalled the old marshal's speech. Well, where will the civil war be provoked? Li Xiaomin is not very interested in politics, and he was confused when he heard it. Of course it's the Prince Nicholas in the north. Hans curled his lips. For these big businessmen, any unusual movement at the political level will attract the attention of businessmen. Sometimes one or two policy changes can make many wealthy businessmen quickly go bankrupt, and their sense of smell is very sensitive. Now the purchase price of strategic materials business in the north has increased by 80%. I think this has attracted the attention of many aspects of the empire. Hans added. Xia Xingchen said, Nicholas started it a few years ago. Let me tell you the story of what happened in Watchstar. So Xia Xingchen told his roommates about what happened in the quicksand base of Watchstar and Furustar. After listening, all the roommates were silent. Dayren continued, as far as I know, there are many students from the north in this year's freshmen, more than in previous years. I think this is not accidental, but a conspiracy. If a war breaks out in a few years, then it will be the time to use people, so now they have begun to win over military talents. What's more terrifying is that if they develop undercovers in the Imperial Army, the consequences will be disastrous if a war breaks out in the future. Then the Marshal's speech today must have made them very passive. Those students who want to make a living must also consider the issue of their lives. Hans smiled. If you are officers from the north, what would you do next? Dayren asked. It's not that simple, just throw money. There is an old saying in our family that money can make ghosts dance. Military ranks and so on are empty. What is the purpose of being an official? Of course, it is to get promoted and make money. Mr. Grandad said proudly. If you have lost your life, what's the use of money? Li Xiaomin muttered in a low voice. As far as I know, the North has always been very poor, even to a dangerous level, and it is impossible to invest too much money in this regard. Dayren retorted. If I were them, I would organize all the soldiers from the North in the school. Then, get good results in various competitions in the school to demonstrate military strength and strength. I think this is very effective. Those who want to defect to Nicholas, seeing that the North is stronger, took a reassurance pill, and their goals were easily achieved. Xia Xingchen tried to put himself in the shoes of the conspiracy planner. He was now gradually learning to think like a leader of an organization. Xingchen, you are absolutely right. So I think we also need to work harder in these areas to crush their conspiracy. Every man has his share of responsibility for the fate of his country, Daren said. That's right, but you need money to do anything. So everyone, come on and make money, Han said proudly. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.